Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still been on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is Wednesday, November 9th.
Yeah.
It is the day after the red tsunami.
Yeah.
I'm swimming in so much red from all those red victories, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I'd
like,
imagine many a chud was quaffing Mountain Dew Code Red last night.
It was so red that Biden got actually announced that he was resigning.
Yes, right.
I just can't handle it. I'm just gonna give it to Ron Trump.
Right.
Merged Ron DeSantis and Trump together, ass to ass.
Oh God.
Not head to head. So
the human shutapede. The human
shutapede. Yep. No, it was not a red tsunami at all. I mean, I would have liked if the Democrats won more.
Oh yeah,
much. Senate, they're still counting a lot of stuff. We don't know what we're still waiting for a lot of results. There's one that I don't know, maybe hopefully by the end of the fucking podcast we can like get an answer on. It's just amazing that Lauren Boebert's been losing for the past like day now. And it's like they're counting every single vote, which is, they should. It's just ridiculous. I just feel like if it was the other way around, they would have already called it and gave it to Boebert.
I think so.
I think so. She's winning by like a half a vote. They would have like already called it, and she would have been gloating on Twitter. And
yeah.
She hasn't,
but she hasn't
tweeted in like a day, basically.
Oh yeah, no, I've looked a couple times. She has not tweeted within 24 hours. If for no other, I mean, gosh, I hope Frisch wins, but just shutting Lauren Boebert up for a day is a win in a lot of ways.
Well, when I want her to lose, because the other joke is that like, yeah, the Republicans might take the House, but they're literally gonna take it by like one seat.
Yeah. Well, and then that's not even for sure, to be honest with you. I mean, like,
if Boebert loses, this will probably guarantee that the Dems might still control the House.
Dems could control the House. There's 3 races in California that are still kind of working their way through, and honestly, it could happen. I don't think it'll happen. I think the Republicans will win the House, but like, if it's by a vote or two, then they will still make.
They'll act like they won, like with the biggest mandate ever. I was watching like the news last night, and which I don't normally watch like cable news. I don't have it anymore, but I was watching like NBC on YouTube, like NBC Live, and I guess I could have watched it on Hulu or Peacock. I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And they said that like, they had all these plans to like go after Hunter Biden, do all this like impeachment. And it's like, really? Are you going to do this with like one fucking seat?
Well,
that's the fucked up thing, is they'll just control it. But at the same time, it might be like, I mean, it'll suck for the United States because the Republicans will just fuck around and abuse the House with bullshit and refuse to work with Democrats in any way. And it'll just make those really annoying voices like Marjorie Taylor Greene even louder. I think it'd be great if Boebert lost too, because then you won't have Marjorie Taylor Greene will kind of pretty much be by herself.
Well, there's an argument to be made for it not being a terrible thing, because if the Republicans take the House and become super terrible, then Biden runs against that for re-election. I mean, I would much rather the Democrats win the House.
Yeah, I would prefer it too, because then they can actually accomplish some things for the next year, 2 years. I also, I think it would also be a great like one. They even said like, even if the Republicans take the House, like this is still a failure on their part. Most presidents usually lose the House. Obama got eviscerated in his first 2 years. After his first 2 years,
shellacking is what he called it.
The fucking Tea Party bullshit, and him not really recognizing like, hey, and then also the voters like not recognizing like, oh yeah, we were supposed to turn out for him in the midterms,
Right.
didn't, and the fucking Koch brother back Tea Party was able to like win, and that's how you got guys like Ted Cruz in there and all these other clowns.
Well,
Um,
oh,
and
oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying they said that, it's funny because I hear like how Biden's doing, and I'm watching like NBC, and like I said, I haven't watched like that news in like a very long time now, probably over a year or two. And they were talking about Biden like as if the economy is complete trash
Yeah.
and all these like negatives, and they're like, what, the economy trash and all these things wrong. We're like blown away that the Republicans didn't take the House, even handedly, and the fact that they're struggling to get the Senate and they didn't win all the governorships and everything like that. And
They
I'm like,
ran
they
shitty
ran,
candidates.
yeah, they ran the shitty. They may have just ran shitty candidates. They ran the shittiest candidates
Yeah.
they could find. I mean, like, and then like on top of it, what did they run on? Attacking trans kids? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that? That's why I tweeted a thing today. I said that, posted a picture of that moron, Matt Walsh, and I said this is
Yeah.
the biggest fucking loser in the election.
Yeah.
Like, this loser got all the Republicans to go along with, well, it's not just him, it's just the right wing movement attacking trans people. And all these idiots like ran on that. I mean, like the only person that really, I mean, well, unfortunately, Abbott won.
Yep.
We unfortunately we kind of knew that was going to
Yeah. Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be that big though. I really
No, I didn't
it'd
either.
be as huge of a fucking.
I I
I
briefly
could not
wondered if,
believe it. I'm like, did people just like how much voter suppression is there? Just no one gives a fuck in Texas.
well,
Or
I
did
don't
their
know. I mean,
brains
like,
get fried by COVID?
I'll tell you where, and this is, obviously, I think I live in a, I don't think I live in a conservative area per se, but it's definitely more conservative than not. Um, Voting was real easy, and there was no problem voting or whatever, But
Yeah, but it's not that you live in a conservative area, not you live in a economically okay area.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I don't
you
live in
live
like
in
a
like
inner city
you don't live
Houston or whatever.
you don't live in yeah, you live in fucking like a well-to-do suburb. I mean, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
fine. You're fine. But I'm talking about like uh but when it comes to conservative, it's conservative politics. And I don't know. I'm just like I couldn't believe it was that big. I could not. It's probably because I moved. I mean, if I stayed in Texas, Beta would have lost by
Eh,
one at less vote, I guess.
well,
Um,
like you
but
said at the beginning, I'm very anxious to see the final results of the Lauren Boebert
the Boebert thing
race.
is just funny. Like it's funny because like she doesn't. Well, one, I live in the state in Colorado, and it would. I don't know. Like everyone keeps saying she lost, but then I keep saying she didn't. It's like,
Well, the thing
like
is that the outstanding votes of the counties that are still contributing to the vote tally, the Democrat has huge leads. So it would stand to reason that any uncounted votes would have similar leads. And so you can kind of project, not like 100% for sure, but that this guy's lead will continue to grow. Um, Plus, a lot of Bobert's voters probably like spilled like fucking donkey sauce on their ballots and shit.
or
I mean,
maybe
like,
some of them died of COVID.
yeah,
Well,
or
somebody was
that. I
joking,
mean,
said that like maybe the Republicans spending the past 2 years telling people not get, telling their voters to not get vaccinated, not take this virus seriously. The
yeah.
thing is, COVID's still a thing. You can still get it. It
Oh
can
yeah.
still fuck you up and ruin your day and kill you, and or permanently, leave you long haul
Yeah.
COVID and all that stuff. And this party spent the last 2 years fucking drumming up vaccine hesitation, vaccine
Yep.
false information, telling people them not to wear masks, open everything up, open the schools up. And then it's like the joke is if fucking Boebert loses by like 60 votes. Well, one, I imagine that some people were just sick and tired of her.
Sure.
I'm telling you, like the funny thing is, I always thought it was this deep red area, and then I found out it really isn't. It's like a purple area of Colorado. She was
Yeah.
able to just come in. I thought she won by like a landslide. She won by 51% in
Yeah.
2020. Like, and the only reason why she won was because there was like another candidate that siphoned votes away from the Democrat running. She still would have won, but like it would have been an even smaller margin. And
Yeah.
this time it was just Adam Frisch and her, and people just sick and tired of her because she ran. Well, one, besides being a buffoon, Lauren Boebert ran her as a politician. She acted like a politician who was like living in the deepest, reddest part of Mississippi.
Yeah. Right.
Like
Yeah.
she, like Marjorie Taylor Greene can get away with it. Like someone was saying, like they wasted all that money giving that guy money going against Green. They should have just gave it all to Frisch, like because
Well,
Green was going to win no matter what.
I
It's
didn't
that
have a good
issue.
read on that race. I mean, I figured Marjorie Taylor Greene would win just
It's
because they
this
seem like
incredibly red
terrible
area
people.
in a still red state. Like regardless if
Yeah.
Dems win some stuff here and there,
Well,
and then so but I didn't know that. I was just I just didn't do the research, and I just assumed Boebert was in. She was this red part of the red area of Colorado, and the joke is it's not even the reddest part of
I
Colorado.
think
And
I think the West, like the true West, which Colorado is part of, I think it's weird because like there's definitely conservatives and liberals and stuff, but there's also like a weird non-terrible libertarian type out there. Like I don't know, there it gets a
I think
little.
the fact is she wasn't doing if Frisch and just the people in Twitter and spreading information and stuff is saying like this is not a Boebert is not a serious person.
Yeah.
She's not gonna do her job. She's not doing her job. She's never here. She's always attending like fucking CPAC and Donald Trump's bull sack in Florida. Like she's never here.
Well,
And the joke is that even if hopefully she loses, she's gonna lose by like 60 votes, which is gonna be
yeah.
like, which is insane. It just goes to show you any asshole that tells you your vote doesn't count, it damn hell counts. I
Yeah,
think
for
the
sure.
presidency is a shaky one. You could argue about the presidency because the presidency is the electoral college and it's done with different math. You still need the vote, but
Right.
your vote really counts in the midterms. Like it just does, especially in congressional seats. My God. The fact that like you can change a representative of a state by just 3 votes is
Yeah.
insane.
Well, it is weird. It's almost like I can't think of a good analogy. It's not like it's like those card games like Magic the Gathering or whatever, where like the rival to an incumbent has like some bit of an advantage because you can pick the right candidate to go against that person. Like if the Democrats ran a firebrand liberal against uh Boebert, they probably would have died in a fire. I mean, it would not have worked well. But if you take someone who's like reliable, local, and says like, "Look, I'm competent. We do need some government stuff around here. We want to keep like fire watchers up in their towers and stuff like that." I mean, like that's a pretty compelling argument. So I don't know. It is weird. But I
Oh,
guess we got on a diversion about Boebert. Um,
well, it's just that's a big surprise of the night
yeah.
is that we just assume like maybe Adam Frisch would give a run for her money. And the funny thing is she tweeted there's gonna be a red tsunami or
No.
red wave. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Donald Trump Jr. did the same thing
That
and
was epic.
didn't
Yeah.
even come close. Because like I said, even in the end of the day, if the Republicans run the House, if they get it,
Mm-hmm.
there's still a possible slim chance the Democrats might hold the House. If they do, it'll be by one, or the Republicans hold the House by one. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy. One seat that could change in like a month. Something could
Oh yeah.
happen. Someone has to drop out. Someone gets caught with a Republican gets caught like with pictures they have on their laptop.
Yeah.
All it takes is, and it's like, and then the whole thing flips, and you have a new Speaker of the House. It's crazy because the thing is, like, what will the Republicans? It's like, yeah, they get claimed victory, but one vote, like, it'll be like, I don't know. It's like a little guy trying to attack like John Fetterman, and John Fetterman just puts his hand on like their head as they're
Yeah.
swinging at him. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's gonna look like. I mean, like what are they gonna do? They really gonna be able? I mean, they can dictate what the Congress does, but like, are they gonna spend like all those time investigating Hunter Biden? I mean, there'll be people there who want to, but I don't know.
They will, but I heard an interesting thing is if the Democrats, this is real ironic because I remember talking about this on our podcast. I said how great of a job the Democrats had done in New York. I said they gerrymandered New York. They were going to pick up a whole bunch of votes, and that was so awesome. And apparently, sometime after that, the courts overturned it, and New York went chud. And all the big Democratic losses have been in New York in like
They said that a lot of it. Okay, so the governorship still remained
Mhm.
Democrat. Did they
Yep.
lose congressional, or is this mostly like
They
is
lost like
mostly the delegation?
five congressional House representative seats.
Wow.
But
Well, wasn't there like a lot of bullshit with the census too?
yeah, but one of the things was yeah, they lost some seats because of the census, the way Trump ran the census.
Yep,
But an
was
interesting
intentional.
quirk, and this is all speculation, is that a lot of people are saying like these politicians, these new politicians, the complete lunatic MAGA chuds didn't win in the. These are like people that presented themselves as reasonable.
Oh, they'll be crazy.
Yeah, but
Stefanak,
like
whatever
if
her name
they,
is, that Stefanak lady, she tried to act like she was reasonable, and she turned into the biggest Trump psychopath
she
ever.
did, but that she had leadership aspirations. A lot of these, maybe, who knows, these 4 or 5 new congresspersons, maybe they want to get reelected in their
I
district.
don't
You
believe.
know,
I mean, yeah,
maybe.
maybe, but I'll tell you this: I don't see a difference. You know, you could say they're a MAGA Republican, they're not a MAGA Republican. 99% of the time, they're going to vote the same way.
Yeah,
They'll just be quieter. They'll just be quieter. They'll allow the media to say, like, oh, yeah, that guy's a moderate when that guy's literally voting just as horrible as any of the other Republicans. You know what I mean? They do this shit all the time. They're trying to like sell fucking Ron DeSantis as a moderate now, which is
yeah, that's
absolutely
bananas.
insane. That guy is actually makes me want like that guy's worse than Trump, actually,
Yeah.
or has the he could be like yeah, no, they said that a lot of it from I was following like majority report there in New
Mm-hmm.
York, so and they were saying a lot of it's just fallout from Como. A lot of
Yeah.
really bad Como people were actually removed that yeah, you might have a Republican running, but this might open the door for like in 2 years have a bunch of like Ocasio-Cortezes come in and crush them.
Good.
You know, just better candidates. You know, a lot of these supposedly were like Como people
Mm,
that and Como was like kind of what I
yeah.
heard was pretty much just like Republican light.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We have what we were going to talk about tonight, or is mostly the election. We normally talk about Andor, but we're going to shelve that this week, and we're going to kind of catch up on Andor next week.
Is he still in
Um,
prison?
Andor?
Well, no spoilers. I saw it already. It was awesome.
Yeah, I heard it was awesome. I did not see it. I had a lot of
I
stuff
thought it was
going
sick
on.
that Jar Jar Binks showed up.
Yeah, well, it's
Ah, Misa here to help the show bring levity.
it was weird that they chose him as the executioner in the
Yeah,
prison, which
that
I
was
thought was
crazy. Yeah, yeah. Remember when like Darth Vader and Andor fought?
yeah, right.
That was sick.
Well, we were going to talk tonight about Elon Musk's new Twitter experiment, and then
Yeah.
we're going to go through some big races
I
and
think we
some.
should. I mean, I guess we could talk about Elon Musk. I mean, like, go ahead.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
with it,
we're gonna talk about him, but like, I don't know if I want to talk about him first because I don't know if he had an effect on the election like they were hoping he would.
mm,
Twitter. I was on it like almost all day, and it ran fine to me. I mean, I didn't see any like weird shit. If anything, like the weirder shit was today, where a lot of like fake verified accounts are now on
yeah,
Twitter. And I don't know if like the only thing the funny thing Elon Musk was like bragging about like how well Twitter did yesterday. And it's like, yeah, that's like how this app works.
right.
Like,
That I
especially on
thought,
like at a major political event, Twitter is like does very well.
yeah, right. That's
That's how
it.
it
It
works. And
needs something like that to do well, but when there is something like that, it does very well. Uh,
yeah, maybe you shouldn't fuck with it.
it's real bizarre. I guess there's not much to say about it. I mean, we're a
No, you
day
did.
into
All
it.
right. Well, we were going to talk about Musk. We were talking about. Go ahead.
Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, some big kind of marquee races. And then we were going to talk about Boebert and some various other lunatics.
Well, I mean, we talked about her a lot. We'll talk about the other lunatics
Yep.
then.
And then oh yeah, in the various lunatics, I'll give you a Eamon Bundy update. He was running for like governor of Idaho.
Oh my God, did he win?
No, he didn't win.
Oh God. Okay, that would have been scary.
Eamon Bundy came in third. He ran as an independent. This is scary though. Brad Little won with 60% of the vote. And then of the remaining 40%, the Democrat got 20% and Eamon Bundy got 20%. So like one out of every five
I don't
people in
think Eamon Bundy
Idaho,
took votes away from the Democrat.
one out of yeah, no, I don't either. That's the scary thing is that if Eamon Bundy hadn't won, it's conceivable that the Republican would have won 80-20. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, we're gonna talk about that, and then we're gonna talk about the uncalled races, which currently include Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona. And then that was it. That was
Oh,
it.
here, somebody said this on Twitter just now because I'm looking at updates for the Lauren Boebert thing.
Yeah.
It said, irony is Lauren Boebert and the GOP and encourage your constituents to wear a mask or get vaccinated. She could easily have had 70 more of them still alive for their votes.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, like, I don't, and they're not going to admit it. They're not going to admit it that there's probably thousands of dead potential votes that were killed off by the Republicans
Well,
wanting to be all like, yeah, we're the free people. We don't give a shit about, you know,
I'm
pandemic.
sure you can do it. I'm sure you can like look up the number of people in Colorado 3 that perished of COVID. I'm sure that's a number somewhere someone can track down. And then you just look at registrations and you figure, I don't know. I mean, you could
Yeah,
probably,
I don't do that for a living. I'm not gonna too,
I'm
but
just
I'm
saying
sure.
probably someone could answer that question.
Yeah,
Like,
totally. I agree. Definitely. I
did
mean,
Bober,
it's probably like hundreds of people. It's not even just 70.
how many
It's
people are
like
in that district? Hold on. I
I
got
don't
the,
think people realize like million American did was it a million over a million Americans that died of COVID?
oh yeah, it was. All right.
That's
So there's only 300,000 votes in their total about.
okay.
So,
Maybe there was like 300, 300.
so how,
You
let's see,
know?
what's the percentage of people? I'm going to do this.
Well, remember,
Math.
not everyone votes too.
True. That is good. So you
I mean,
do the
I always
percentage.
wonder what the turnout is. You know, it's always sad when they're like, the turnout was huge this year. It was 53%.
Right.
I'm like, that's pathetic. Like, that's insane that most people just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
United States of apathy.
That's sad. Well, I'm not going to do the math right now because it looks like it's going to be a little harder to track down the information. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
okay.
mean, like
You don't need to.
it's not inconceivable that she lost. She lost.
Well, I think she lost also because she was fucking awful.
Yeah, that's probably I think the key
But the
factor.
joke is that there is some truth to the fact that there might have been some people that didn't make it past 2020. Now,
Yeah,
2020, when she won, we were in the middle of a pandemic, and there wasn't even really a vaccine yet. I mean, people like
true.
smarter people wore masks and stuff going to vote. And I remember going to vote, and a decent amount of people wore masks. This wasn't back in Texas, but there were so many people who refused to wear it. And I was just like, and I
Yeah.
was around the time, I think that was around the time, was it? Yeah, you were still supposed to wear it technically, but no one was enforcing it. So
I remember reading about that. I voted. It was pretty crowded when I voted, and everyone wore a mask. But there was like on the local Facebook page chatter that you did not have to wear one, and they couldn't make you wear one, and that you as an American had the right to infect your neighbor.
fucking they'll never ever like that's just such dipshittery. Like,
Well, I will say I don't know what I'll say about that. That would be something interesting and something you could probably figure out, you know. All right, so with Elon Musk, I guess you're right. I don't have a ton to say about it. It has been a rocky rollout. It's just so it's a shame. I've been on Twitter since 2009, up until like the last couple of days, I was on Twitter probably more than any other website around, or app or whatever. Um, and I used to like just comment freely and everything, and I've really like reined in my activity on Twitter. I still look at it, obviously, but it's just so disappointing. I'm real disappointed with the whole thing. Elon Musk has just revealed himself to be just like such a crap
I mean, that was a
person.
long. He revealed himself a long time ago, but
Yeah, but like
I
now
mean, the
it's in my
fact that like
face.
he bought Twitter, and then the first thing he does on like his second day of Twitter, he puts out that, oh, maybe there is some truth to Paul Pelosi,
Yeah, I
having a
mean,
gay lover, that a spurned gay lover. Maybe there's some truth to that. It's like, what the fuck, man? What is this gap? It's
yeah, that's the thing
like
is
what?
he had always been a shitty person, but it wasn't in my face. Like Twitter was kind
Well,
of
I
where
mean,
I
he's the guy that again who called a hero a pedo because he
yeah
didn't like that the guy said that Elon Musk was, you know, a waste of time.
yeah.
So, I mean, what's a fucked up thing I found out? Like
Hmm.
that guy's not doing well, Paul Pelosi. He is supposedly
Oh
like
yeah,
he's never probably going to recover. I cannot. It is insane that the Speaker of the House's husband, like a week before the major midterm
yeah,
election, was attacked and almost killed. And I don't feel like it made a fucking in a normal country. I feel like that would have like just been so much bigger news. And
yeah,
like I could not believe it. I'm surprised the Dems didn't. Like, I don't know. They were like so scared to like come out and just like be like, yeah, this was a MAGA nut. They were able to look up his information. It was all out there. He was some like
yeah,
Gab user or whatever, one of those fucking right wing sites. And he was a fucking psychopath. And the
yeah.
Republicans pushing that thing about like him being his gay law. It's like such like
Well, and
QAnon
you had like
bullshit. Like
Andy Biggs was making fun of it today. You know, I mean, this is a
fuck these people. Like, so that's why I said, like, the other day, like this weekend or whatever, someone threw a beer at Ted Cruz, and I
yeah,
guess they actually hit him. I don't know if he got hurt or not, but it was pretty awesome.
yeah,
I remember like some of the more like progressive or whatever you want to call them on Twitter, like, you shouldn't cheer this on, like Rick Chapman, all them. And I'm like, you know what? Shut the fuck up.
yeah.
I'm
let me
sorry.
let me
This
have
is
this
funny.
one.
He's not dead. This is hysterical. This is funny because it's like he went to that ball game, got booed, and now he's in Houston and he's getting booed.
Yeah,
So it just shows you no one likes him, regardless of like even if Houston might veer more to the right. There's there's enough people there to say "fuck you, Ted," and the fact that it's a beer. But I said, "Hey, who?" And I wasn't the only one that said that. I
yeah,
saw other
yeah.
people were saying this, but like who is to say the guy
Right.
who threw the beer was not in his underwear and actually Ted Cruz's gay lover
Yeah,
who's
right.
just trying to get his man a cold frosty beverage? I
I
mean,
think there's questions to be asked,
yeah,
right?
I think
I
there's a
mean,
lot of questions need to be asked, and I think we need to like do some investigation on it. I think Elon Musk needs to like tweet that.
yeah,
So this guy like tweets that, and then like you find out advertisers are dropping out, and like then he puts out that stupid idea about Twitter Blue, which like the joke is someone I follow posted it. I think it was like Matt Binder or something, and he said like the screenshot was like everything, all the features were coming soon. So this
yeah.
motherfucker is like, give me your $8 today, but all the features they're not there yet.
Well, and also like someone said, it's a weird business model, and I read the whole article. They said basically if you make it so that these people see fewer ads, then
Wouldn't
like
advertisers be like, the fuck am I paying
well
for?
yeah, then revenue will drop by like $6 for each of these people. And then Apple takes a cut of anybody who like goes in through an app. And so if you're paying that $8.99 a month or whatever, or $7.99 a month through the App Store, then you're also losing. So like each Twitter Blue subscriber would lose them money. They'd lose money
It's
on each subscriber.
and then it's like you're not gonna make okay for every advertiser you piss off or whatever or you lose, you're not gonna make up for that with it because no one's getting it. Like, what did they say? Like before he even implemented it. Like I guess there was always this Twitter Blue thing, and it was only $3 a month, and it got you access to
It
like
depended on where you lived because I looked at it before. It was like $4.99 for the Dallas area.
this is pre-Musk, right?
Yes, this is like a year ago, 2 years
Okay,
ago.
well, supposedly it was like barely 100,000 people using it.
Yeah, I heard the last figure I heard was that I think it eventually got up to 300,000. Oh, but it's very few people, regardless.
And it is very few, and I wouldn't trust that. I wouldn't be surprised if like 50,000 of those were like,
Complimentary or something.
yeah, bots
Yeah.
too, like, or organization paying for them all, and like, so I don't know, it's a dumb business decision regardless. It's like, wait, I have to pay. And then the joke was that they said that Monday everyone's check marks would be gone. I didn't see that. Everyone still had their blue check mark.
Well, it's a weird one now. Like if you were given a blue check mark, even if you didn't sign up for the new service, you kept it. And then, but now I've seen a ton of people that have like 6 followers that have blue check marks. I've seen a lot of them today.
Mm,
So, mm.
whatever. I don't know. I think a lot of this is going to cool down. I just don't imagine this is going to be profitable. I don't think like I know that it was like this exodus supposedly to go to Mastodon, but like, dude, I tried using that thing. That shit does not work. It doesn't load. I tried changing servers. I needed a new
Mm,
password. It's really idiotic. I'm sorry. It has to be simple. You can't make a platform and try to
well,
like you can't make a platform and be like, I'm gonna get a billion people on here. Oh, but first, here, pick a weird server that you have no clue
yeah,
what's going on here. It's like,
I will say, because I've been on Mastodon the last week or so, I will say that it is harder or a little more. I don't know. There's something different about it, but it's not like it's different than Twitter. It's like it looks like Twitter and it feels like Twitter. So the temptation to say, "Oh, this is a Twitter replacement," but it's not really a Twitter
I
replacement.
don't think
This
it was
is
designed to be a Twitter replacement. I think people
no
just someone latched onto it and was like, "Hey, this exists. Let's go jump on
right.
this."
Uh,
And it's like, I'm sorry, but like, Twitter, it's like it's there. You just go in, the conversation's going. You could find a discussion.
well,
I
you could previously. Now they're saying that anybody with the $8 is going to have their content prioritized. So it
well,
used to be well, it used to be that an algorithm picked your content for you, but
I
now
think that's a lie about the $8 thing. I think that the algorithm's still going to generate who gets seen.
good.
That's just a scam that to get people to pay for it. And I don't know. I think like I guess everyone like was like worried about like is this gonna affect the election? Is this gonna cause chaos?
Yeah,
Is this gonna and I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, like whatever I like and follow who I like, I don't feel like I was infected really. I don't feel like I
right.
like I don't think Elon Musk was able to shape the election. He did put out that stupid tweet though, like right that day, telling people to vote Republican
Jeez.
um, to balance power or some bullshit. And I was like, okay, buddy, we know you're a Republican because I'm sorry if you're attending the victory party of
Yeah,
Liz
come on.
Cheney's primary challenger, you're fully in.
You
That
may be a
fucking
Republican. Yeah,
yeah, not even a Republican, but like a full-on MAGA Republican. Or I don't know. I don't see a difference between these two anymore. To me, it's all just
that's true.
Republican. But like, if you're attending the party of that fucking kids in the hall character, like, yeah, I mean, come on, who are you fooling? And then on top of that, I loved it. I saw a bunch of tweets from like some big people. They brought up good points and said, I can't believe the guy who's supposed to be the green energy person is telling you to vote for the people who
Yeah,
literally deny green energy. Like fight tooth and nail. All they do is attack like the green one, they talk about the Green New Deal like as if it's been enacted and it never has been. Um so I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. What do you think is gonna happen
well,
with him owning it? I mean, so far it looks like nothing.
yeah, I it's tough. I mean, part of me is like Twitter's too big to fail in some ways, because there's like a lot of, until big names start leaving, I don't see it failing, and I don't see any reason the big names would start to leave. The only
Well, they
weird,
might leave because the one thing that this verification is doing, and Twitter's doing a bad job at, is that there's imposter accounts now
well,
where
that's
they're like posing. It's like someone posing as Giuliani, and he was posting all kinds of funny shit.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, we know Giuliani would not actually say this shit, but and he's verified. And like Nintendo, there was like a fake Nintendo where Mario's giving the finger. I mean, like, I'm sorry, Nintendo might like sue fucking Elon Musk.
Well, that's the other thing, is that like, and I'm not, obviously I'm not a lawyer or anything, but like, one of the things that has always kind of like struck me or bugged me is they keep saying that that you can buy verification, but you're not, nothing's getting verified. Nothing at all is getting verified. I mean, you can put whatever name you want, and and they'll accept it. So like, yeah, if I go on there as Nintendo USA and I start tweeting, and and
And you have a blue
Twitter
check mark.
Twitter says I have a blue check mark and I'm verified, then at some point Nintendo's going to be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, don't you have an obligation to
You are
not?
damaging our brand.
Yeah, because the verification mark isn't coming from me, the user, it's coming from Twitter. Twitter is saying we verified this
And
account.
Twitter only did it because of a lawsuit that happened years ago.
Right. From that the baseball
Russo,
manager,
whatever.
Tony LaRusso. Yeah. So
So this shit, that shit's hopefully it unless they like are gonna get on top. If they don't get on top of that shit, there's gonna be lawsuits. You're gonna see like
right.
Nintendo is gonna be like, yeah, we're not using this anymore. Like we're not on Twitter.
Yeah. So I that's my guess, is that at some point a company is going to bring that up. And it's not going to be a Nintendo, because it's not going to, Nintendo doesn't fucking care. But it's going to be like a Tony LaRusso, like someone
Yeah,
just
celebrity or maybe even a smaller tech
right.
company or like
Yeah.
but no, Nintendo might care.
Well, yeah,
Hello.
Nintendo might care, but like I think it's more likely that you're going to get like serious, like Nintendo. I guess that's the thing, is that like everyone knows when it's not Nintendo, and Twitter will get rid of that pretty quickly. They'll get rid of the not Nintendo. But someone like, I'm trying to think of a good example, like a mid-level genre celebrity, like Jewel Straight, the girl who played Kylie on Firefly. Right? Okay, so her.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was that great article, not article, that thread from that guy that actor who used to be like on EastEnders, and he's like and he
Yeah,
put out that
right.
thing about like a story that had to do with like child abduction or something, and how the verification like made a big fucking deal.
Yeah, and that was a huge thing, and that's actually a really great example, because like, who knows that person? Like, some people know that person, but like Jewel Straight or State, or I forget her last name, but like there's a ton of celebrities that make money off their name, that rely on their name to earn their income, that have a brand to protect, even though they're not world famous or whatever. And those are going to be the people that like are actually going to be like, you're fucking my shit up, to Twitter. So I think that's probably the most likely threat to this. I don't know. I don't know. And also, like, I don't know. Part of me is like, Twitter Twitter doesn't cater to the casual internet user. You know, you're not likely to find grandmas getting scammed on Twitter. That happens more on Facebook.
Yeah,
Most
but
mo-
they're yeah, go ahead.
most people who get on Twitter are a little more savvy, I think, internet wise.
Probably more than Facebook. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it's like, and like I would say, Facebook is at the bottom, and then you got like Twitter, and then maybe a little above that you got like Reddit or something. Like, that's like the hierarchy of like, how savvy are you. uh,
Yeah, I know saying like all these ideas are terrible, basically.
They're
And
all
like even
bad.
like Elon Musk posted like Some things are not going to work. Some are going to ideas are just not going to be good. It's like, I don't know. I have an idea. Why don't you just leave it the fuck alone?
Yeah, it
It's like
was
the
worth.
joke is too. It's like, okay, I announced this $8 thing, and I'm going to push it through, ram it through the next week. I'm going to make everybody overwork. But then the joke is, you go to do it, and it says every feature that you promise is coming soon. Well, then why the fuck would I pay for this?
Well, a
And then
lot
it's
of
a
them are
funny
just
thing, like
shitty
half
ideas.
the ads. That's to me isn't a bonus. I'll just turn off the ads. I turn off every ad I see on my feed almost. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah,
I
turn
do.
that.
I do that. Yeah, I have done that like habitually now. I
Yeah,
don't
who
know.
cares?
I guess I it's hard for me to
I
think
do
about
that
it
on Instagram
rationally.
also. I just nah, this ad's irrelevant to me. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to think about it rationally because this really pissed me off. I loved being on Twitter. I liked Twitter. It was real fun. And now I've got to like every time I go on to Twitter, I have to deal with this fucking Elon Musk. And it's like the worst person in the world bought your favorite diner.
It's just
You
funny
know?
because I always knew this guy was like a bit of a fraud. I always said that. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's something weird about this guy. I just don't trust him. Like, especially like, I mean, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is interesting, But then, like, they never released an economy car. They never
No,
released, like, they never really did the infrastructure. That thing about making flamethrowers. I was like, what the fuck is this?
it
Or
was
like, and then you
stupid.
see the kind of people that he attracts, and you're like, I always say that. Look at who they attract.
Right.
They attract really scummy people and they do nothing about it, then that's a red flag to me.
Yeah.
Like if you not even say like embrace, I don't even expect them to like come out and be like, yeah, I disown these people, but like I don't know. And then now it's like really funny because like I see him respond to like right wingers on Twitter, and I tweeted this the other day. I said, "Does he have like a chud index or
Right.
something? Like, how does
Right.
he know all these fucking people? Like, I mean, like he is specifically and exclusively responds to right wingers on Twitter. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
It is.
Uh,
I don't yeah, I don't know. I mean it is in a lot of ways. I did see Twitter's stock is like plummeted. I guess he sold $4 billion worth of stock and Twitter's like withering on the vine.
he
I don't know.
sold it.
Yeah, he sold $4 billion worth of his Twitter stock. I mean his
I
Tesla stock.
forgot
I'm
that.
sorry.
I forgot that when he before he bought it, that he technically was like a majority shareholder, right? Because he owned like 10%
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. Well, I don't know. It is it's weird. It's sad. I can't
I would hate to be at Tesla right now because
oh
supposedly
god.
a lot of Tesla people were forced to work on projects
Yeah.
for Twitter. And then on top of that, did you hear this? So, like, the big joke was on Friday, he like, big joke, yeah. He laid off like half the company.
Yeah.
And of course, all the right wingers were like laughing about it. And it's like, wow, that's weird. These guys, like, maybe that's another reason why there wasn't a red tsunami. I don't know. You're applauding a billionaire firing people. Like that's odd. That doesn't seem like you care about jobs. And they're like, oh, it's different. This is Twitter. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You don't get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Like that's weird. And then on top, the funny thing is, I guess, because Twitter's in California, like, Elon Musk moved to Texas last year to avoid one, be a tax cheat.
Yep. Yeah.
And he also wanted to open up during the pandemic, and California had stricter rules, so he moved to Texas. Um, and he said, oh, they announced and said that, like, yeah, you can't fire half the company without like
Right.
a 60-day notice. So
Well,
supposedly the next on Monday, they were like contacting tons of people to come back to work.
yeah.
Well, one, because they probably wasn't operating, and two, to probably see how many people they could get back so they don't have to deal with like any, lawsuits or anything.
Well, it'll be
Um,
interesting. I mean, I do know that that he's already said he's had a tweet today where he said we're going to try a million things and half of them will fail. And that's great, but I'm not there for that. What do I want to
that
like
just seems stupid because it's like It's like, look, I came in your house and destroyed your kitchen. So help me put it back together. It's
Yeah,
like,
are you gonna go to a restaurant where there's just like always fucking with the menu and half the stuff sucks? I mean, like, why?
yeah,
None of this makes any
like
sense. Like,
the dishes aren't cleaned. Like they
mm,
make you go get half your stuff yourself, even though you have a waiter. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just stupid. It definitely all his decisions that he's making, if they actually follow suit in them, this company will be gone in like a
yeah,
year. Like
yeah,
we'll move on. Like I said, I don't think it's Mastodon because I don't think it was designed to be. I mean, maybe it could. Who knows? Maybe in a year, might be if they actually stick to it. But I've seen this happen too many. I've watched this happen too many times with platforms. Everybody gets angry at the platform they're on. They're so desperate for a new one, and somebody's like, "You should sign up to this," and they get some big names to sign up,
yeah,
influencers, and they're like, "I signed up to this," and like I said, I watched that with Vero, and I just sat back and went, "Yeah, okay, this is bullshit." And
yeah,
no one uses it. No one. Like LO, no one uses that. There was so many obviously the right wingers have their little grift going with their
yeah,
bullshit Twitter clones because they just want to say the N word,
right,
and attack trans people. But this is different. I mean, until I see a a site that works like Twitter that is not a right wing haven,
yeah,
I just don't think it. I don't know. Like I said, who knows? Maybe Mastodon will be, but I think even like the design and the mission behind it, I don't think it could. I
yeah,
mean, Twitter was made by soulless tech people who knew that the way to keep they said that like Twitter was kind of done in 2016, and it
oh, it
was
was almost done. Yeah,
and like supposedly like Trump is the reason why Twitter is even relevant today.
yeah,
Like it's another reason why they were like Trump was probably pissed. And if you think about it, Trump was probably pissed when he got pushed off because he was probably like, I made you guys. You guys
yeah.
were dead. I was told that you guys were, you know, lying Jack. What's his name? Jack Dorsey. Jack.
Well,
Lying Jack. He said, and suppose I remember somebody posted an ad on like a subway station in like Thailand or like Japan where it was like an ad for Twitter and Trump was on the ad. And
oh,
they're like,
geez.
yeah, they love him on here because he drives content. And then the joke is they're probably like, yeah, Elon Musk is great because you get all the big people to come out and say what a piece of shit Elon Musk is, and it generates the conversation. All the other little
Yeah,
say something and they get their 4 likes. And it's just a big game. But I mean, that's what Twitter is. That's mostly what social media is.
well,
I mean,
that's
like, go
it's
ahead.
it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I
But it,
agree. When I go on Twitter, it's like part of it is like shit posting or getting in arguments or stuff like that's why I'm there. But at Mastodon, that's like very discouraged. You know, you won't stick around long if you start shit on Mastodon. And I think you're right. It's like there
I
needs to
mean,
be a
it'll be just a niche thing,
yeah.
though.
That's what it
That
is. It's
that's
like
just a sad reality. It's like it's just a niche thing. Like define Twitter, it's like, oh, we can't, right wing cries and says they can't say what they want to say. Like they can say what they want to say. You just have to be a
oh
little
yeah,
more creative about it.
yeah.
You know, that's the like what they say when Musk took over Twitter, like the N word was like
Oh, it's
said like
like it went up
a
five
billion
hundred
times.
percent. Yeah.
And like, like I don't even bother reporting anything anymore because I don't think there's anybody to work on it.
Well, yeah. Although I take that back. Because I still report people often, and someone had posted a whole bunch of like anti-trans stuff, and I reported them, and they got their account suspended.
It's probably because there's still implementations that are there because they did put that in
Yeah,
to
there's
go
probably like
back
some
and like
software or something.
anti-trans stuff. There's probably implementations for that,
Yeah.
but there's still like I reported stuff that has not been taken down where
Oh
they're like,
yeah,
find
it's hit or
anything wrong
miss.
with that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Um, but he, it's like funny too because all these like douchebags were like cheering him on for firing after people, and none of them point out like I don't know, maybe he's firing after people too because he just dropped $44 billion and he really can't afford Twitter. So what best way to do but to like half your payroll so that
Yeah.
you have like at least some money and you're not completely in the red. Like no one wants to admit that's probably the case.
There's no way he's going to make money on Twitter, not to the tune of
No,
44 billion. I
Twitter,
mean,
no.
like,
No way. No fucking
It's
way.
it's really not designed to be a money making thing. I mean, yeah. Well, the first things that we were going to talk about, the first race was the Florida race, which was the first one called. They called Ron DeSantis as a winner in Florida.
I'm de
Um,
sanctimonious.
it
Remember
was
that
real
episode
depressing.
Trump
Yeah,
recently?
it
De
was real.
sanctimonious.
It was real depressing. Republicans won like everything everywhere in Florida. Like,
Yep. Val Demings was crushed.
yep.
Fucking Marco Rubio, who's like the most like it's just insane. It drives me crazy. We'll talk about Texas too, but like how like you could have like these politicians that like no energy, like Marco Rubio, and
Yeah,
like
just
people come
tweets
out
out a
of
Bible
shows that
verse every morning.
yeah, that's it. Bible verse and some bigotry.
Yeah. Um, and it's weird.
Only the libs.
Florida for a long time had been trending purple, or at least had been explained as being trending purple. Clinton won one of his terms there. Barack Obama won some terms there. I mean, it's like had an illusion of going back and forth, at least at the presidential level. But lately it's not. It's been pretty Republican. And B,
Especially in these past like 2 years with DeSantis and Fox
well,
News and like all these Republicans moving there and
if
shit.
you look more closely for the last 20 or so years, 30 or so years, 40 or so, at the county and city level, it's been going super Republican. Super
Yeah.
Republican. You know, I mean, like,
I mean, the fact
where,
that they voted for Rick Scott years ago was a
yeah,
dead sign that that I was saying that for years that like Florida is lost. Like, yeah, they voted for Obama supposedly twice, but like ever since that, they Democrats should not waste a nickel in Florida next
mm-mm.
round. Like, put your money in like, find your like go after like your Boberts and shit. People who are like, hey, here's this idiot who acts like she won or he won by like a landslide and they only won by like 3 fucking percent. We could take this
Well,
person on. Let's put some
it
money in there.
it is weird. There's some cities in Florida. I guess Florida's probably like Texas in that way, and that there's some big cities that are pretty progressive. Orlando, maybe, or Miami, or Tampa, but for the most part, it's very very conservative. It's short sighted. It's almost entirely populated with like it skews old elderly people that made a lot of money up north and now they want to come down to Florida. All their grandkids are up at schools in like Ohio or Maryland or Connecticut. They don't want to spend a dime on schools down there because they don't see any benefit to it. All they want to do is drive around on major roads in their golf carts and play like fucking pickleball and shit. Um,
And say racist shit.
yeah, they just want to use the N word in the checkout line at Publix with their like 17 items in the 10-item lane and shit, paying for stuff with checks like it's 1988 or something. I mean, it's really
Yeah, I
that's
remember I used to be a cashier back in the mid 90s, and I always loathed when someone pulled out a check. I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding?" Like, I mean, like credit card machines were still like slow as shit, but like,
right. You're like doing that big like cha-chunk thing over the like, taking a
God,
manual imprint.
the worst is when someone showed up with like a wick and I had no idea what to
Oh
do. It
yeah.
was so embarrassing because no one trained me about it. No
Right.
one, like, oh yeah, we're gonna get somebody comes because it's like it has to be specific items, and I was like, it was like I felt bad because I
Yeah.
had no fucking clue.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. So I remember when I worked at a social service agency in Portland, Oregon. Part of what we did is we got the kids that went through our program, we got them on food stamps, and then we took them shopping and showed them like, hey, here's how you shop. Like this is like you should buy.
Candy.
Well, you should buy like this like dried beans instead of like canned beans, right? Whatever. Fucking teach them. And it was like always people gave us such shit when we tried to purchase stuff with food stamps. It was really, really embarrassing and kind of like dehumanizing.
Oh, I didn't mind food stamps because I just treated it like money.
Yeah,
It was like cash anyway. We just put it in a different slot. It was just checks were like just like you had to wait for this old man or old lady to write a check, and it was just like, all
well,
right. Well, Ron DeSantis, I mean, Florida to me is pretty much just a dumb red state at this point. It's become, Ron DeSantis. was horrible in this debate. I think to say that like Chris was a bad candidate, I don't think that's a fair statement to make.
Yeah, I think
I
he's
don't.
fine.
I don't think it was fair. I think it's like, I mean, who are you going to run at this time? I mean, like Nikki Fried, I would have probably preferred that, but would she have won? Probably not.
Nah,
Probably not. I mean, I just, again, DeSantis won by like an insane
it
margin.
was like 60
Crazy.
40 or something. Yeah, I mean, it was a
Yeah, real
big,
crazy. Like, what the fuck, man?
well,
Like, these people, but a lot of right wing media has been, they made Florida out to be like it's right wing Shangri La. I would say this: I hope all the right wingers move to Florida. Go ahead, move there. Leave
yeah.
all the states that you're in. Go
Well,
to Florida.
the problem with Florida is there's
No,
less of it. Well, there's less of it every day because of beach
yeah,
erosion and the
and
ocean rise. And
yeah, and then DeSantis like acts like just like how let's say the Republicans win the House by like one vote. DeSantis acts like he created this insane, amazing economy in Florida because he kept it open during the pandemic because he didn't give a fuck about people. And it's like Florida doesn't even fall in the top. Florida falls in the top 20 poorest states
oh
in the
yeah,
country. Now, if you remove Guam and all that, it actually becomes even lower. It becomes
well,
like 16. I mean, this is not something to brag about. Like Gavin Newsom runs California, and California went from being the fifth largest economy in the world.
yeah,
This is a state in one country, not a country
right,
in the world. It went from being the fifth largest economy to the fourth largest economy. And you have this douchebag acting like everything's great down there, and we have freedom while he's taking away people's rights and basically having jackboot thugs work for
right.
him. And he's it, it's not free. That's why I'm glad.
No,
Like I started seeing like ads from like Paulus and Gavin Newsom, like saying
mm,
like, "Hey, we actually are the free states in the country.
well,
Like we're the real freedom. Like you can be who you want to be here, and like we'll leave you the fuck alone."
Florida's just gone to hell.
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, and the
Yeah,
joke is, it's like they're the first state that will suffer the most from an environmental catastrophe. They face an environmental catastrophe possibly every year.
there's one right now. There's a hurricane. Hurricane Nicole
That's coming
is
their way.
it's off the coast of Florida. It's going to hit tomorrow morning. It's a Category 1 storm. That's a minor one, but yeah, it's set to hit Port St. Lucie tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
Big Category 1 storm. It's gonna cut. Basically, if you remember, Ian went through the state around Fort Myers, Naples. This is going to come from the other side and cut slightly above it. There's going to be like a third of the state have been hit by a hurricane. These hurricanes are just increasing in intensity and frequency. Um,
yeah.
I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's tough. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about Florida. It's a really weird state. I know, like, a lot of states are weird and quirky or whatever, but Florida's just got so many people coming and going, and so many people there. That coronavirus thing was a big thing for them because, like, all Florida does is like service economy. I mean, like, they don't do anything there. They grow some oranges and whatever, but like 90% of the orange juice we drink in the United States comes from Brazil. It doesn't come from
yeah, that's like a
Florida.
joke too. Like these like states that claim they have like the monopoly of things, and they really don't.
No, a lot of these red states will sit there and say, "Well, who's going to do your food?" The state that produces more agriculture than any other state in the
In
United States is
California,
California.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. I used to live there. It was a huge. I used to live in Chico, which was near all the farms and shit.
yeah.
Like I remember driving from San Francisco to Chico, and in those 3 hours, all you do is pass like the hugest farms in the country.
You go up and down I-5 and you just see like
I know
miles and miles of almonds and
they
then
try to push
hazelnuts
this
and then
like all the crimes in the blue states, and it's like actually
no, it's all in the
it
yeah.
isn't. No, it's more violence in your states, actually, buddies.
Well, I'll tell you, the Florida thing was very disappointing. I remember texting you the night it happened. Um, I hope the Democrats kind of move on from it. Put your money in Arizona. Put
There's
your
no
money.
point because it's like, who are you going to run to at this point? Like, okay, there was one shining star. There was like a congressman who's like the first Gen Z, and he's like a Justice Democrat. So that
Mhm.
means more. That's another progressive person added to like the squad. That
Yeah.
more members that get added every 2 years. That will eventually become a coalition in Congress, and they will hold power, just like the fucking stupid Tea Party did.
Well, the Gen Z, remarkably, and I always badmouth kids because they don't vote. Gen Z turned out in this election. Gen Z is probably what made it
Well,
so
they're
that the
probably like, we're the most affected by this. We don't have any we don't really have any like set things that, like, GI Bill or whatever the hell
right.
you call it. Like, there's no like programs, and like schools, like colleges are like astronomically priced and all this shit. Like,
Well, did you see what was trending on Twitter at some point today? Is the 26th Amendment, and a lot of Republicans were talking about the need to raise the voting age to 21.
yes, I saw that.
Like,
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, buddy.
that's
I
how
don't
you
think,
know
yeah,
that,
why
that's
is
how you
that?
know the kids
Wait,
18
you
through
mean
21 did something right,
you mean Charlie Kirk and Stephen Crowton don't get the young people out to vote?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm shocked. I can't believe that. I thought that they were on tap with the youth of America.
Yeah. You mean Charlie Kirk, who looks like smushed face Rick Mail from Drop Dead Fred? Doesn't.
He looks like Meatwad if Meatwad decided to be a person for the day.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I'm the rat run asshole. And like, and then
Then yeah.
people get mad every time I do that. They're like, "Don't you dare!" Meatwad's cute. I'm like, look at, because Charlie Kirk's like hair recently, just like shaped weird, and it looks like
Yeah.
fucking Meatwad.
He
Like,
does kind of look like Meatwad.
Meatwad's got the honeys, please. I'm thinking of the Aqua Teen Hunger Force song. Meatwad, the best.
Well, it is disappointing. I don't know what to say about
May
Florida.
he
You're
look
right.
like a Meatwad, but he's more like a Master Shake.
You got to run candidates.
I just
Maybe
think Florida is a wasted effort. And if I was the Democrats, I'd be looking at it and go, like, listen, if there's any vulnerabilities, we'll go after it. But like on
sure.
a statewide level, I think we're kind of fucked. I mean, Marco Rubio sucks. And we had, Val Demings, I think was probably a fine candidate, a name in the Democratic Party. Charlie Chris, whatever. I don't live in Florida,
He's
but I
fine.
think, yeah. Uh, I would just go for local elections and build yourself up there, put money in that. But statewide, put your money in like Arizona, Georgia, like, don't waste. Even Ohio is a fucking waste of time. I guess let's just talk about Ohio next.
Well, that is next.
Ohio. Okay, so Ohio, like, I didn't pay attention to all the races. I know the governor went back to Republican again.
Yep.
And it was the same one, got reelected, right? Uh,
Yes.
but the JD Vance thing is just such a disappointment. I was shocked by that. I mean, at first I was like, it doesn't surprise me. But I still was shocked that Tim Ryan lost. I really thought that he would come out ahead. I just figured maybe people would just pick up on what a fake and phony JD Vance is, but
Yeah.
I guess, these are the people who also voted for Trump 2 terms and have basically become a full on chud state.
Well, it's remarkable because here's the weird thing. Like, if you're asking me, like, to stereotype states or whatever, I would put Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania as being kind of similar. Like, these are, I mean, they both are.
It's like the Rust Belt, they call it.
Exactly. It's the Rust Belt. They're older states. They have a mix of like rural places with also urban. You have Detroit, you have Philly, you have Cleveland, you have Toledo, you have. I mean, like, they seem like they're pretty. They seem like they'd be pretty similar. However,
Yeah.
Michigan elected a slew of progressive Democrats, had a bunch of progressive ballot measures on the thing, and won. I mean, like, Michigan went full progressive. Philadelphia took Fetterman over Oz. Pretty, it wasn't.
Pennsylvania.
I'm sorry, Pennsylvania, and it also is primarily blue.
Yeah, by the time Fetterman won, the gap was even wider. Like,
Yeah,
better won by a couple of points, not just
they
by like 1 point.
they announced that fairly early, to be honest with you. I mean, people
Yeah,
were
out of all
talking
the
about
senator races, that one was decided, and Shapiro was decided way earlier.
Shapiro blue, and Shapiro's a pretty progressive.
So that Mastriano guy was
Yeah,
horrible. It's like, let's run Roy Moore in Pennsylvania.
but like,
And Roy Moore attended January 6th.
true that you are. Yeah, that is true that like Mastriano and Tudor Dixon were worse than JD Vance, but like JD Vance was an ass clown, and
Well,
Ohio is all red. Ohio has, I don't know, like looks like 30 districts. There's three of them are Democrat. The Cleveland, Columbus, and well, some other district are Democratic, and all the rest of them, like 30 of them, are uh, Republican. It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, again, I'd say again with Ohio, it's like uh, Democrats on a statewide level don't just maybe the governorship could be something they could go after. Some congressional seats where there's vulnerability,
You know,
but I would not. I would just treat it as a red state and go after like the ones that keep Nevada blue, keep
yeah.
go put your money in those states. Keep make like the funny thing is Colorado is still considered a purple state, which I just find really funny. Hopefully, with Boebert gone, it will just become like a blue state.
Well, they
Like,
re-elected. I'd forgotten about this guy, Ken Buck. Who is he? I've heard that name back in the
I don't
day.
know.
He got reelected yesterday in Colorado,
Well,
and
there
that
are
kind
red
of
parts. There's not like there isn't, but I mean,
well,
there's red
actually,
parts.
yeah. I'm looking at the map right now, and shit, there's actually a decent number of Republicans in Colorado. It's just that like down the middle from Fort Collins to Denver and then some other cities, it's deep blue. But then you have like a lot of like outlying chud
Well, we
towns.
drove to when we went to like Glen Springs, or I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Yeah,
And then we drove out to Grand Junction, was like another hour and a half away from there. And that was more west. Let me tell you, that felt more like that was a Bobertville. Like you could just
yeah,
feel it. Like I was just like I remember we went to go eat somewhere and I felt like I was like in like a south part of Texas or something. You know what I mean? It was
yeah.
definitely rural as fuck. And that's probably like the kind of area that like Bober probably succeeds in. It's like, I mean, when we were driving there, sure, we were pretty close to the town. There was like 100 signs of her in a row in like a field. It was like fucking eerie and gross. Um, but again, if I was Democrats, I would be like, let's make sure Colorado is a blue state 100%. Let's make sure Arizona
Yeah.
never has an issue. Let's get rid of fucking Kristen Cinema next go around. Let's get a fucking good primary candidate against her. Let's get you know, let's try flipping North Carolina. I still think that
North
one's doable.
Carolina, it's
How about keep
stunning.
making sure make what?
It's stunning that North Carolina is not blue. I mean,
I
that's
feel
like,
like it could. I feel like the recipe's there for North Carolina to go blue. And I would just focus there. I mean, there was some big races too. Democrats had like the Maryland, a governor of Maryland, I guess.
yeah, Wes
Demo-
Clark. Is
uh,
that who won it?
yeah, he's like the third black governor in the country ever, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, this
Uh,
guy's supposed to be real good too. He's
yeah,
like
and was it a flip? Wasn't it like a Republican that was?
I think so. I think the wasn't Larry Hogan the governor? Wasn't
Yes,
it was,
I guess he might have been done then. I don't know if he went against Larry Hogan, but another thing people have to take a lesson from. They said that like the blue states was the one the Democrats really dropped the ball on, like when it comes to like New York and stuff. But I think again, a lot of that's full out from Como.
could be.
It's that like Republicans try to run like they're moderates in blue states, and you have to be really careful because
Yeah.
they're still going to vote a certain way.
True.
They're going to vote a certain way. Hold on a second, I got to deal with it. Cat.
Cat. A cat crisis.
He just bangs on the door and tries to get in the room.
Cats are the worst.
He is. He's horrible. He breaks in that room at like 4 a.m. He's gonna kill us by not
Yeah.
letting us sleep.
They're so
I'm not.
hostile.
I sleep all day. I sleep all day. I always
um
go up to him and like rub his belly. Like I'm like, you're not. You're gonna be up. This is my time. You're up. You
well,
sleep when I sleep.
I agree. I'm looking at Colorado now, and Colorado looks like it's probably 50-50 with Democratic versus Republican districts, except that all the people live in the Democratic ones. I mean, it's kind of a little deceiving. But yeah, I would make inroads in Colorado. I'd make inroads in Arizona. I mean,
Yeah, I
like
mean, like,
Florida's
fuck
done.
Florida. Like,
Ohio,
get win the seats you can in Florida. Like, it's a big deal that there's a young progressive in that area. Excuse me, but I'm sure that also is an area that votes progressive.
yeah.
That part of Florida where that guy won. But like, yeah, like I don't know. I'm not an elections expert. I don't know
Yeah.
shit. I only know what I hear from people. People on the corners and the streets. They tell me, just
Yes.
rando people.
Well, I would
You
say,
remember that bit, Bobby Moynihan bit on SNL, where he was like that guy who's like, "Did you hear?"
oh
And
yeah,
it was all like weird second or third hand
right.
information. He'd be wrong all the time.
He was good. He was good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the next one, and this is we kind of covered it a little bit, but the next one on our list was Fetterman.
Well, hold on before we go
Yeah.
into it. Like, what kind of fucking senator is
Mm,
JD
JD
Vance gonna
Vance.
be?
Well,
Because
he's
I
funded
said I
by.
thanked Ron Howard. I said thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Ron Howard, because Ron Howard directed that movie.
Wasn't JD Vance another Peter Thiel candidate? Is
Yeah,
that yeah?
yeah, pretty
So
much.
he's
I think
gonna
Blake
get
Masters was more of a Peter Thiel
yeah.
candidate, but
But
he
JD
was.
Vance is gonna get envelope slipped under his door every morning with a little brief and a dossier cranked out by Peter Thiel's gargoyles, and it's going to tell him how to vote on everything that's coming up that day.
Well, that's like any Republican, but yeah, pretty
but
much.
that's it. I mean, like,
But the best too, it's like Tim Ryan. Like I remember I saw this like close to the election too. Like a story came out, again, Ginny Vance's bullshit story about like how I guess his mom got addicted to oxy, and
yeah,
he's supposed to be like the guy who I don't know, like hey, oxy's bad or whatever, and then you find out like one of his major donors is
yeah.
like one of the purveyors of like oxycontin. You're just like, come on now, like, who are you kidding here?
Well, the only thing I wish about that is that Tim Ryan didn't concede and just said something like, JD Vance can eat a bag of dicks, and
Yeah.
then like just dropped the mic and said, fuck you all.
Stop the steal.
But yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's
JD
my only.
Vance looks like that guy in that movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil, whatever. He looks like an actor. I know someone said that he looks like forgot somebody made a joke and said he looked like a fatter version of someone, but I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I'll post a picture later on
I said
Twitter.
he looked like if the Shoney's Big Boy were an incel.
That's not a Shoney's Big Boy. It's Bobby Big Boy.
What?
I didn't want to correct you on Twitter.
Shoney? No, there's Shoney and Frisch's. There's like several big boys.
Wait,
Shoney,
what? Bob's Big Boy.
there's also a Bob's Big Boy. If you Google it, the Shoney's Big Boy is a.
What?
That's the one I took a photograph.
One Bob's Big Boy, and it was Bob's Big Boy.
Nah, that's if you
Big Boy. What?
yeah.
Is there like some weird like what someone forgot to put out a patent? Oh yeah, you're right. What the fuck?
I think it's I think they're all owned by the same company and they're
Big
regional.
Boy, same as Shoney's. In 1947, the first Shoney drive-in was open. The name was changed to Big Boy Restaurants, only to be renamed 3 years later to what is known as Shoney's. Oh,
yeah, and
this is some fucking Mandela effect here. You're trying to. This is like you know what, man? The glitch in the matrix, realignment of reality, man. Yeah, I can't just accept that I'm wrong.
no, there's Shoney's,
man.
Frisch's, and Bob's. All
This is a
three were big boys.
realignment of reality. Now, next, you're gonna tell me that I wasn't in the movie Harry Potter.
Yeah, well,
Speaking of which, Harry Potter, I saw that Weird Al movie. It was awesome.
oh, I still need to see that. I've seen.
You have Roku, or can
Yeah,
you
I have a. We have a Roku and a Roku
it.
account.
Yeah,
Yeah,
watch it. I think I'm wondering if I'll have commercials. Like we just what I didn't pay for it. It only sucked I couldn't watch it on my Sony TV downstairs, which would have been much better.
yeah.
It's funny. What's his face is great as Weird Al.
Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah,
Yeah,
he looks amazing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The movie. I mean, I'm not gonna. We'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah.
You should watch it.
I might watch
I
that.
was glad. I didn't think I would be able to watch it, but then I just went on there. I was like, oh yeah, you can just download the app.
Yeah, yeah, it's no big deal.
Um, okay, so yeah, I don't know, JD Van. It just sucks. And again, I don't think people realize about senators is that you're stuck with these people for 6 years.
6 years.
Like, look at fucking. We didn't have this on the list, but Wyoming. Is it Wyoming or Iowa? Voted for Chuck Grassley, who's
Yeah.
89 years old. This guy's brain is like, you ever see him tweet? He like puts out these bizarre tweets. And I'm amazed he doesn't have any staffers to be like, okay, Chuck, how you use the phone. And he's like, I want to talk about soup. Like he puts out this bizarre tweets, like they're just weird,
Yeah.
random thoughts, and they're like this is a guy in the Senate, and he decides on like who gets to eat and sleep.
He polices your vagina. He
Yeah,
polices
like
your.
this guy
It's like,
has been in there for like 1,000 years. He's
it's
899 years old, and he
yeah,
just want the people in the same people who will lie and say that Biden's too old. But let's put a guy out on the Senate who's over a
yeah.
decade older than the president.
There's a difference too between like, look, there can be older people that kind of keep up with the times, and then there's people like Chuck Grassley who is like a living, breathing Grandpa Simpson. So it's like,
It's funny though when they show pictures of him when he was like younger, when he's first in politics in like 1950, and he
yeah.
looked like Buddy Holly. I don't think Buddy Holly didn't die on the Great Big
is
Bopper.
he
He changed identities and became Chuck Grassley.
is he wearing an onion around a rope around his belt?
Isn't that Grandpa Simpson?
Yeah. Give me 2 bees for a nickel. Give me
What
two
is
bees.
the onion around a rope? What is that supposed to do?
I have no idea, but I
Or
just
off
remember.
like bees or something? Like, why would you wear an onion around a rope? Like, there's got to be some old timey thing.
Yeah, there's almost always. Do you watch? There's a guy who was a writer for The Simpsons. Do you see him on TikTok? I gotta look up his name. He mostly reviews fast food.
I think I know who you're talking about,
But he was
but
a
I don't know if I've seen him on TikTok. I might have seen him on Twitter, but
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
he's great, and he'll go into like the deep weeds of like how a Simpsons joke came up, and he would say like like we'd try to fit like 60 jokes in like a 30-second bit or whatever. But his explanations are always really good. I haven't heard him say anything about the onion on a rope bit, but if I would love to hear an explanation of that. So
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna look this up right now
yeah, yeah,
because I'm
yeah. That was a great bit. That was a
the
grandpa
bit of
Simpson.
stock. Okay, hold on. How to store and string onions. Okay, no. Why
Sure.
do onions last longer in tights?
Okay.
Why do people put onions in tights?
That is
What?
yeah.
Stringing onions. I guess. Okay, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not what I'm looking at. Maybe I should type
Right.
Grandpa Simpson of onion on a rook.
Ugh.
Yeah, but that guy won in Iowa, and it's just like
Yeah, that's depressing.
it's so weird.
Wow. Well, you know who else won was John Fetterman. And
That
that was it was so gratifying because he was running away with it. He really he was a clear favorite. He was going to be a kind of a landslide victory. And then he had a stroke and he had some difficulty kind of
well, they had that disastrous interview on NBC that felt like a hit piece on NBC's part.
yeah, yeah.
With Dasha Banks, whatever fucking name is.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about him like he was brain dead, like they like Terry Schiavo was running for fucking Senate or
Well,
something.
they would just throw out shit without like, oh, he also used closed captioning. But then like I don't did they ever like do any other candidates ever ask for like assistive prompts or whatever?
Yeah,
Like
you're telling me that Chuck Grassley doesn't use that? Even
yeah,
like
or a
1,000 years old?
teleprompter or something. Anyway, that
Well,
was a
I know.
hit
If I
piece.
love when they would go after Obama for using a teleprompter, and it's like
Yeah.
every president uses a teleprompter. What the fuck are you talking about?
And
Well,
then well the debate in
the
which
debate was horrible. There's
that was
no
tough.
denying that that debate was a shit show. But the joke was, at the end of the day, and if you're going to attack Fetterman on his debate performance, you have to also bring up the fact that Oz did himself no favors in that debate.
It was terrible.
He made that ridiculous statement. that all it did was just anger more people by saying like, yeah, I think the abortion should be up to a woman or doctor, and some fucking creep in the delegation.
Yeah, it was a terrible thing. And he was smarmy and he kind of made fun of
Yeah, he
Fetterman.
made
Like
a
maybe
nasty
you
comment about Fetterman. He said, "Oh, can you hear me?" or something.
yeah. And most people, if you live long enough, you have a friend or a relative or someone who's been through something, and has some sort of impediment. And that generally sucks. I mean, I know maybe he's used to MAGA chuds getting into that or whatever, but like good people don't like that. They don't. Good people don't like it when you make fun of someone because of an illness or a sickness or something. So
And
I
it's
don't
also
know.
a good sign of like, oh, okay, so you're making fun of this, so you're gonna be like really horrible when it comes to like disability rights.
Yeah.
Like, you're basically telling us, like,
Well,
I mean, you can lie and say you'll be okay, but you're basically telling us to our face that you're gonna be awful. Like,
it's remarkable. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Fetterman won.
and it's a flip, so that's good. But unfortunately, the when it came to the Senate, I really thought Democrats would be like 3, 4. I thought they would come out with 52
Yeah,
senators.
I
They
I
would
was
gain two.
I was thinking that
I'm
Mandela would
assuming
win in
Mike Lee.
Wisconsin.
I'm assuming Mike Lee, even though that guy wasn't a Democrat, I'm assuming Mike Lee won.
He did
And
win. Mm-hmm.
uh, Ron Johnson's a huge disappointment.
That's stunning.
And
That
again, it's one
guy's
of those weird cases where it's like, okay, the Democrat governor stayed in power, but like, why would you vote for that guy and then be like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Ron Johnson too because my brain has worms in it? Like, Ron Johnson's not a good senator. Like,
mm-mm.
why? Like, it'd be one thing if, like, Ron Johnson's a really good senator. I don't agree with his politics 100%, but I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. That's why I said, and the thing with like the Carrie Lake thing, which is absolutely crazy because she's a nut job. So it was like, how could you vote for Scott Kelly? Is that his name?
Yeah.
And for
Oh,
Senate,
Mark Kelly. I mean,
Mark
yeah.
Kelly, vote for him, and then be like, oh, I like to balance things. I'm going to vote for Carrie Lake because I'm an idiot.
Well, I mean, there might be, and like you always see this. I mean, like in some races, it's not as obvious, but like there's men of a certain age that just won't vote for a woman. You know, they won't vote for a woman. Like there's probably like a bunch of people with religious beliefs that will prevent them from voting for a woman. You know.
No, I'm saying, like, how could somebody vote for uh,
Oh, I
Kelly
see. Yeah,
and
vote.
vote for Carrie Lake? It
See, I
makes
think it's more
no
likely that
sense.
it looked like a lot of people voted for Mark Kelly and then just didn't vote at all for governor. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like they didn't
because
vote for Carrie
she's
Lake. They
doing
just
better than Blake
yeah.
Masters, I think.
Oh yeah. Carrie Lake is doing better than Blake Masters, and Mark Kelly is doing better than Katie Hobbs.
But Katie Hobbs is still ahead, right?
Yeah, I think Katie Hobbs is going to win. I mean, it's not been called. All
They've
the
already threatened to sue. They were calling
let
bullshit. They were
them.
trying to like cause trouble all day. I was watching the Twitter thing, and they were like claiming Maricopa County and all this shit. Like,
Maricopa County is run by
trying,
Republicans.
they're trying to what?
Maricopa County is run by Republicans. That
Well, they're
election
trying
board
to do
has
this whole thing where it's like, well, Kitty Hobb is in a similar situation where Brian Kemp was also in that position.
mm,
And the difference is that Brian Kemp, like, literally went out of his way to suppress voters back in
yeah, we took
2018.
people off the rolls and
Yeah,
everything.
like, she's not doing that. Like, that's the difference. But Republicans are good at like lying. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is. I don't. Do you
I
want
don't
to
I
jump to
like
Arizona
Fetterman
or?
because he looks like he's into the same music I'm into.
Yeah,
He looks like, he's this really tall guy, but he looks like that nice guy at like the shows who's like, you know what? I'm gonna stand in the back
yeah.
because I'm really tall and I'm not gonna block everyone from seeing the stage. I'm not that big of a douchebag, you know what I mean? He seems like a nice guy like that. Like he would just be this, like he would just chill in the back. He's like, I'm really tall. I could see the stage from
Well,
100 feet away.
I think the great thing about Fetterman is we have him for 6 years. He's in what's been pretty much a blue state, aside from that one aberration with Trump.
Mhm.
Um, and I would say too that if he had a stroke and he's recovering, that over the next couple of years he should either recover fully, and this won't be an issue in his upcoming
It
reelection.
shouldn't even be an issue anyway, because currently, right now, there's several stroke victims that are in the Senate.
Yeah, well,
That's nothing that people wouldn't bring up.
but it
Like,
shouldn't be a problem for like the average voter. And I don't know. I think this was like a really satisfying
Dr.
pick
Oz
up.
too is such a
A
shitty,
shithead.
like it. That's why the whole Herschel Walker thing just blows me away, because Herschel Walker is horrible.
He's just a shitty
Like he makes
person. Yeah.
Dr. Oz, like Herschel Walker is legitimately a moron. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like they were like someone did like a closed caption of everything he was saying in like a speech recently, and it was just like jarble. Like,
Yeah. He is the person where like if you write it down and then try to say it aloud, you're like, oh well, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
like AI wrote it. Like you
Yeah.
ever see like
Right.
AI writing a movie or something?
Like if you told an AI to pretend it was a potato or something, you know, it's like
That's Herschel Walker.
yeah.
AI pretending, not a potato, AI pretending to be a potato.
Right. So and Herschel Walker is, I mean, he's like threatened to kill police, he's like beaten women, he's
It's just a
it's
terror.
just
Again,
yeah.
another awful candidate. The fact that he can't, like, I don't even know. So that like went to a runoff, I guess. Part
Yes.
of me is like, listen, I'm fine with the runoff. Actually, I mean, I would prefer to Warnock won,
Yeah.
but I'm fine with the results one because Walker didn't win. So,
Right.
and on top of it, I think it allows people now to, you have a month now where all eyes are on Georgia again. And Warnock, I think, will come out ahead because more attention will be given to like how dumb Herschel Walker is
Yeah.
and how much of a nonsense candidate he is. You won't have all the bullshit. Now, the Stacey Abrams thing was a disappointment. And let me tell you, man, like that guy, Killer Mike, that guy sucks. Did you hear
yeah.
about that?
Um
Killer Mike is like, he's from that Run the
Run
Jewels,
the Jewels, yep.
and
He was also in Ozark.
was it just like one episode? He was just
Yeah.
in like one episode
He
of
was in
Ozark.
one
Okay.
episode. He was in like a
Yeah.
diner.
Yeah.
It was like the rare. It was so out
I
of
know what you're
place. It
talking
was like
about. Was
stunt
it Ozark?
casting. Yeah, Ruth saw him. Ruth went up to that town to kill the pharmaceutical person or whatever.
Okay.
And then she was like wandering around at night and she saw him in a diner and she went in and said she liked his music. It was like it was so out of place for
I hate
Ozark.
that shit. Hey, you know what? I met Ed O'Neill once at a diner
No.
at like 5 in the morning in New York City.
Nice.
I was shooting something for Troma at the time.
Yeah.
And we went to a diner afterwards. It was like 4 something in the morning, and
Yeah.
Ed O'Neill was there talking to someone.
That's
We
awesome.
and we went up to him, and he was like, "No autographs," but he was still cool, and he shook my hand and everything. And yeah, it was really weird. And then I said to him, congrats on the new show. It was like some show that he was on,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard it was really good. I didn't see it. And then the next day, I saw on the news that that show was canceled.
It was probably his reboot of Dragnet.
What?
It was probably his reboot of Dragnet.
No, I'm saying that he probably knew it was canceled when I congratulated
Oh,
him
yeah.
on the show.
Funny.
Is what I'm saying, because that was like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I find out the next day on the
Right.
news that like his show is canceled.
He
I'm
was
like,
probably out there drinking it off that night. Like, right?
yeah, it's like some fucking asshole went up to me in a diner and congratulated the piece of shit. Knew like my show was canceled. I was like, no, I'm just an idiot. I had no idea. I probably should have said, I like you on the show with the children that
Right.
and the audience that scream and your wife who always wants sex. I thought that show was great. When your daughter, the character who played your daughter, would come out and there would be those people going, whoa!
Yeah, right.
Dude, you ever like Married with Children was such like I tried watching one not too long ago, and it's a tough show to watch.
It is
because of that horrendous laugh track.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when we watched Married with Children, we were used to laugh tracks because everything.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
And then Married with Children was just like more exuberant. They had the audience like go crazy. If there was like a hot chick at a show, they'd be like, "Yeah!" But now you watch it, you're just like, "What the fuck is this?"
It is so weird watching a show with a laugh track. And like I should do that. I should get my daughter to watch a show with a laugh track and just see how she reacts
Well,
because
they still have shows like that. I mean, I swear we watched Connors. I'm pretty sure that has a laugh track. I'm
um,
positive it does.
I don't think we watch anything with a laugh track.
Well, didn't you watch like you ever watch like Big Bang Theory? That had a laugh track.
No, we never watched that.
Oh, you're lucky.
I'm trying to
My
think. I
favorite
think
was
Liv and
somebody.
Maddie had a laugh track.
My favorite was somebody played a clip of Big Bang Theory with no laugh track,
Mm.
and it's so creepy because they do put pauses in between everything they say
Yeah,
to make room for the laugh track noise.
right.
So it'd be like whatever the names, I don't even know, Bazinga guy would
Yeah,
be Leonard. What did you
right.
do today? And then you'd hear a weird pause and then like a little joke and another weird pause. And I'm like, this is like a weird art film without the
Yeah,
it's like it's creepy.
like Garfield without Garfield. Like
Yeah,
Garfield.
kind of. All right. So yes, Georgia, yeah, so that Killer Mike guy came out and basically, I don't know if he pretty much endorsed Brian Kemp. He
Uh,
basically trashed Stacey Abrams and said like it was basically just like sexist shit, you know?
yeah,
And it's like, really? You're supposed to wait, you can't you were like one of the biggest advocates for Bernie Sanders and his mission, but you're fine with Brian Kemp, who is basically like a bigot,
yeah,
like a classic bigot Republican who gets to remain as governor another 4 years now. You're okay with that. And
yeah,
it's probably because he's rich and he's probably sexist as fuck.
yeah. Well, a lot of those people are like,
Even if you think that she isn't that great of a candidate or whatever, the goal is to not allow Brian Kemp to stay in
right.
power. That's the
You
mission.
and at the governor level, you don't necessarily vote for the. You have to vote for the candidate, of course, but you're like voting for their platform, their policies, their. I don't know. It's disappointing. I know. I don't know what happened to Stacey Abrams because she was poised to do really well, and then she didn't.
I guess her
And
biggest thing was the whole voter suppression thing, and that's the thing that propelled her in 2018, even though she lost. She probably should have won that election,
yeah,
but he fucked with it, and then he won. And then the joke was that Brian Kemp was smart. What Brian Kemp was smart enough to do was in 2020, he stayed out of it, the
yeah,
whole cap voter thing, and he basically agreed that like Biden. I could be wrong. I don't know if he ever said anything, but he didn't say that the election was stolen or anything. He
right.
was smart enough to
See,
stay out of that shit.
I think
And
that's
I think by doing that, it like diffused Abrams a bit.
well. That's the thing is if you are a moderate or even like a MAGA weary Republican, then it's real easy to vote for Brian Kemp. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot less resistance to voting for that guy because you're like, look, he's level
And this
headed.
guy said he will get rid of contraception,
Oh yeah, look, the guy's
which
an
is
awful
insane.
person. Yeah, I would never vote for him. I'm just saying, like, I see that. I can see why he won. Like DeSantis, I don't see why anyone voted for him. Or
But I love how they're like trying to. So basically, the big, like I said, I haven't watched like NBC in a long time, so it's good to see like really where the MSN like elite
mhm,
media like
yeah,
are pushing a narrative, and they're right wing. They've always been.
oh yeah,
I've
yeah,
like the idea that there's a left liberal media is a joke. It's a farce. Anyone who thinks it's a liberal media wasn't alive in 2003 when we invaded Iraq. It was the
right,
most fucking right wing ever. It wasn't until like fuck that guy from like ESPN was on NBC and MSNBC, and he like became kind of like a progressive voice, Keith Olbermann, like,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
the network kind of swung a little bit because they were getting views and it was becoming like a place like, hey, they tried being a Fox clone,
right.
but they are never there's no such thing as left media, and they were fuck, I like kind of lost what I was gonna say though about the messaging of the whole night. Oh,
Well,
they were trying to like say that basically Republicans law didn't get the tsunami because of Trumpism. But they're like talking about like DeSantis like as if he's a moderate, and that's
yeah,
insane. Because I would say DeSantis is probably further to the right than Trump is.
Oh yeah, I would say so
Like the
too.
problem with Trump is that Trump's such a narcissistic piece of shit that and has no real ideology. That was always the problem with him, is that he would go along with whatever as long as he could profit off of it or protect his
Yeah,
assets or gain from it. And DeSantis is a fucking creep. DeSantis though put out like, oh, Trump is. That's the great thing about this whole thing though that might come out of this is that Trump fucking hates DeSantis. They were gonna now. I guess my wife told me that she heard something that like the staff or something had to like stop. Like they wanted to announce his run for president yesterday, Trump, and I think
I've
they
heard that. Yeah,
postponing it for a while. I bet you they're postponing it longer because the Republicans did not. Well, one,
they
almost
underperformed.
everyone that he endorsed lost. Almost
Yeah,
every.
yeah,
Um, and or will lose, or hopefully loses.
right.
And it he said something about DeSantis, how he has dirt on him. And the guy Cody Johnson from Some More News made a joke and wrote K Ron or something. And I like put that tweet of like, yeah, Dainty DeSantis, a little light of the
Yeah, yeah.
load.
So
You know, some people are saying his favorite dollar is a $3 bill.
yeah.
And I seen him, I spotted him, and you know, some people are saying that he shows up at truck stops in the middle of the night. You know,
Wearing
rest
those
stop,
boots.
Ronnie, rest stop, Ronnie.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I
Deep
guess
dish DeSantis, as they call him at the rest stops.
I think yeah, I think Florida's.
He's a bottom.
I think Georgia is what people think Florida is. I think Georgia is a true swing
I
state.
think Georgia has a chance, but this last election did not help. If Warnock does not win, well,
Yeah,
first of all, it's just so scary because it's like, really, is it football? This
Herschel
guy's
Burschel.
Yeah, this guy's a moron. He's
Yeah.
legitimately stupid.
Well, and
Like,
he's a bad person. I mean, like
yeah, he's a bad person
he's
too.
if he was dumb as a stick, but like a straight arrow Boy Scout, then you're like, okay, I get that. Or if he were whip smart and a shitty person, okay, I get that. But he's like dumb as a stick and a shitty person.
Yeah,
Like
like the whole
what?
thing that the stuff about abortions coming out, it just proved again that what we always knew about these people was that they don't give up, they
No,
really
give
don't
a
care about
fuck.
abortion. They use it as a cuckold to get people
Yeah,
to cudgel to get people to vote for them. They don't care. The
yeah,
fact that, and again, they even said it that like this story about Herschel Walker having it's not a story, it's a truth. It's
yeah,
100% true. Coming out that he paid for abortions is kind of similar to that thing getting out close to the election of Trump saying grab him by the pussy.
yeah,
And everyone thought, like, okay, that's it. Trump's done.
yeah.
And it wasn't. Should have been. Should have been the end of him.
Mm.
And I say this the difference between him, though, the one difference between Walker and Oz is that Walker can sound like a down home Southerner.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's why I'm like, I don't know if it's like this is a put on or he just sounds like this. I think some of it's exaggerated. I
Well,
think
I mean, he's
he's
also
playing.
dumb as a stick, which is
Yeah, I don't know, but I think this is some of this is a put on. But Dr. Oz, to again came off like
fake as fuck.
East Coast elite that the Republicans always claim the Democrats are. That was Dr. Oz, and they ran a candidate, John Fetterman, who has the look and appeals to the working class.
Yeah.
So the Republicans fucked up by picking Dr. Oz because they basically did like a flip.
I know,
they
you know the one thing, yeah, they did. You know the one thing I don't understand is that Dr. Oz used an attack against Fetterman, which was basically you thought someone was robbing you, and so you pulled a gun on them. Do you remember that?
no.
There,
Oh, was it like the story of him like fighting a black dude or something, and then the
yeah,
joke was it was revealed that that guy was endorsing Fetterman, and
yeah.
that they were not friends, but they were like fine. There was
Well,
no bad blood.
it seemed like look, I'm not like a big gun fan or anything, but it seemed like honestly something that would make Fetterman more attractive to a wider variety of people
Like
because
NRA nuts or
or
gun right people. Like,
At
yeah, try
least
to
people
defend
that are
yourself.
like moderate and own a gun, because like I think that's probably a pretty relatable thing for most people is like Fetterman pulled a gun on someone when he thought he was in danger. He didn't shoot anyone. And then when it turned out that he wasn't in danger, he put the gun away and I guess they became at least friendly. Like that
The
just
guy
seems like,
endorsed him.
yeah,
That's
it
the
seems
joke.
like the
Yeah, they
ideal
tried to make it
outcome.
something, and I guess when it was revealed that the guy like,
Yeah.
listen, you know what? Oz was always going to lose, but some shit happened, and like, they were able to like kind of take advantage of his health. The MSN didn't
Yeah.
help, like doing that hit piece on Fetterman, because it was a hit piece. You could call it
I
whatever you.
wonder I wonder how Oprah endorsed Fetterman like with a couple days before. Did you hear this?
Yeah, she should came out earlier, but
Oh,
whatever.
much earlier. But I wonder if that helped. Like
I don't know if it makes a fucking difference, honestly, but it couldn't hurt.
yeah, couldn't hurt.
No,
Couldn't
it
hurt.
couldn't hurt. I mean, it's funny. It's funnier because it's like, Oz was like her guy. Be
Yeah.
like, she gonna come out again. I mean, I want to see her come out and like disown Dr. Phil next.
Yeah. Well, I'm somewhat sympathetic to Oprah, even though she's unleashed a ton of like shitty people in the world. Like sometimes you interview people or you bring them up through your system and then they go off and become idiots and like that's not necessarily your fault, but man, it seems to happen a lot to Oprah, huh? Like that's
Well,
like
a lot of those people that we're talking about, man, those were like decades ago.
yeah, that's true.
It's not like
That's
she
true.
had like them on her thumb. It's been years,
Yeah,
and she doesn't have a show anymore, so she can't like
true.
come out and talk to So it's a different situation. I don't know. Again, did she help Fetterman? I don't think it hurt.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's two races left uncalled. If we say that Georgia's gone to a runoff, which everyone says it has, we got Nevada and Arizona, and currently, Mark Kelly is leading in Arizona, and it's by like 5 percentage points. I mean, I suppose,
have you done an update?
yeah. I actually let me see. I should have it here. Let's see. We got um Arizona. And for in the Senate, Arizona, 70% is reporting. We got Mark Kelly at 51% and Blake Masters at 46%.
I'm
So,
sorry. Go ahead. What was it again? I'm
well,
looking.
it's
I'm trying to
very,
see if there's any updates on that fucking board thing.
very specifically, this is an update as of now. I'm sorry, 8:50. No, this is of I guess they stopped counting at like 9 p.m. In the evening. 70% has reported, and Mark Kelly is winning 51.4% to 46.4%. So it's exactly 5%.
Okay.
And I can't really tell where the votes are coming from, but generally, uh, they say that there's a blue shift, meaning that the Democratic vote increases as votes are counted. But Arizona, I've heard they say the opposite, that there's sometimes a red shift. And so I don't know, 5% is a pretty big lead this late in the game. So uh, it looks
I don't
like
want to jinx anything, but I think the way everyone's talking, it's pretty much they're just waiting to confirm it.
yeah.
Mark is going to be center. Now, what about the Kerry Lake thing?
The for governor, it is also 70% reporting, and Katie Hobbs is winning by a much more narrow margin, 50.3% to 49.7%.
Yeah.
So I'm
Again,
looking.
I don't understand that how people can vote for Mark Kelly and then vote for
Well, Katie
Kerry.
Hobbs has about 950,000 votes. Okay. And Mark Kelly has about 980,000 votes. So about 30,000 people voted for Kelly, but not Hobbs, which is it's not like a ton, but that is weird.
I just don't understand the brain. That's all. I just
Yeah.
think it's very strange. Like,
So yeah, no, I agree. And then
because
with
Kerry Lake is not a normal. Like she
Kerry
doesn't.
Lake
I
is
mean, she's like
horrible.
on stage with like Steve Bannon like a day before the election. Like, Steve Bannon, come on, what the fuck? And she's
Well, she's
like
just weird.
telling people, I'm telling reporters she's gonna be their worst nightmare, and like,
well, and she was like, she went from like going to drag shows and hanging out with drag
oh yeah,
queens,
there's
like,
definitely something fucking odd about her. She's like a fucking drag king.
yeah,
And that's something, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. Enjoy your life. But then you become this like insane right winger and you want to dictate how people are, and you're attacking trans people, attacking LGBTQ, where you're dressing up like fucking
yeah,
Elvis and I'm sorry, there's something weird there. There's something weird there.
yeah. Now the Nevada race just
And
got updated 20 minutes ago, and currently, and the Democratic candidate has been losing the entire time. The Republican has been winning, but Nevada has a very big blue shift, and their big service union, the culinary union, they had a big get out the vote thing on election day where they dropped their ballots off in a
so they
ballot
haven't been
box.
counting those.
They're in the process of counting them.
So that
So
might help the Democrat.
yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, John Ralston, who is like the expert in Nevada politics, tweeted 20 minutes ago, new numbers. Washoe in the Senate race combined results from Lyon, Nye, and Washoe have reduced Laxalt's lead to under 16,000. Washoe mail was huge for the Democrats. Turned a 5,000 deficit there into a 400 vote lead. The urban mail is coming in with large margins for Democrats.
Well, this is that whole thing that, like they said, thankfully that wasn't an issue with Fetterman. And actually, as time will go on, Fetterman's lead will just go even
Yeah,
more. Even though he's confirmed winner, it will be that, like, who knows, at the end of the day, it will be like Oz only has 46% of the
right.
vote. Because the Republicans in some states, and I don't know what that's the deal with Nevada. I remember Nevada was painful during the 2020 election. I remember
Yeah,
we were waiting and they were like, all right, well, we're only going to count for 3 hours a day. I was
yeah,
like, what the
right.
fuck? It lasted like a week. Um, but we knew Nevada was kind of always going to go to Biden. They were even saying that the real toss ups were like Arizona and Georgia.
Right.
But um,
Well,
Nevada, it's just like you just got to wait on the process. But they set up the delegations or whatever in the states, set it up so that they can cause like, hey, look, it's not
yeah.
fair because as you know, they're waiting for actual mail-in ballots to be counted that could change the election 3 days later.
Well, Nevada too has a law that says they will count mail-in ballots they receive up until I think the 12th, which is a couple days from now. If it was postmarked on the 11th, or I'm sorry, on the date of the election, which was the 8th, they will accept a ballot if the postmark is postmarked on the 8th up until like Saturday or something.
Mm.
Which makes
Well, I
sense. I
mean,
mean, if you drop something in the mail,
so if Mark Kelly wins and this woman in Nevada wins, then the majority stays with the Democrats, regardless if Warnock loses or not.
yes,
But we want Warnock to win because we want
right.
one. It would be a nice fuck you to cinema.
So theoretically, if let's assume Kelly wins in Arizona, let's hope that the Democrat Cortez Masto wins in Nevada, then the Democrats already have control. Now the weird part there is like if the Democrats already have control, do you keep that momentum in the Georgia runoff because you still want
I
Warnock
mean,
to
you
win,
do if you are like, we want to make abortion, we want to
right?
get that through. If you want like women's rights, if you want like any other things you want to push through, of that one extra vote makes a huge difference. And
Oh
with
yeah.
that, it basically eliminates cinema
Mm-hmm.
as a threat. Do you know, as I heard of this, cinema didn't even come out and like help
Yeah,
Ellie at all, or I'm like, dude, this woman's trash, dude.
I saw a
I hope that
Democrat.
I hope she what?
I saw a Democratic candidate retweet her today and said like thanks for all your help, and it was like a little sarcastic face next to it, like a sarcastic
Yeah.
emoji. She didn't do
Cinema
anything.
is
She's
one of the
worthless.
Cinema is one of the greatest disappointments. She's like if she's not as bad, but pretty bad. Tulsi Gabbard, if Tulsi Gabbard actually had power.
Oh yeah.
Dude, Tulsi Gabbard, man, she doesn't even pretend anymore. She went
No.
full MAGA. I mean, she's like every
So
day
weird.
tweeting about like trans people and like mutilating a children's channel. I'm like, the fuck?
Fucking
I'm like,
weirdo.
oh, I knew she was trash. There was always something weird about her. I'm not trying to say like I just have a good bullshit detector. There was something odd about her.
Yeah, she seemed real odd. I like when I first heard her talk in the last round, there's a lot of candidates that turned out to be shitty candidates that I was real willing to listen to. Andrew Yang, I was like, oh, he's got some good ideas, and then quickly it was like, and the the psychic lady,
I
um,
like her.
yeah, she was fine,
She's my
and then
favorite.
Tulsi Gabbard, I was like, oh, maybe there's, and then no, but yeah,
Yeah.
actually, the psychic lady was probably the best of those three for sure.
Well, yeah. My favorite though is was SNL had a kind of a funny skit of like Democrats need to run like candidates that the Republicans have been running. And I don't remember the skit like too well 100%, but it was like, you want like whack jobs, okay. And they get what's her face, there's a woman on the show that's played her before.
Yeah,
What's her name again?
I forget. You're talking about the psychic
Yeah,
candidate. I forget her name.
I was just saying Meryl Hemingway, but I know that's not it.
That's not it, but it's something like that. It's
But they were like her, and she's like, it's so funny. Like,
yeah,
and then there were some other like nut jobs. They're like, yeah, we're gonna run people like this. This is clearly what people want.
yeah.
I was like, oh look, Cat Turd got verified. That's so cool. He paid for his own
Oh God,
verification.
Marianne Williamson was her
That's it.
name, I think.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
fine with her. I'd be happy. I would vote for her in a heartbeat. She's great.
yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it's like one of the best videos is her like ripping apart Dave Rubin. It's great.
Yeah,
Uh, Over. Okay, so let's see. Various lunatics, and then the uncold racists. I mean, what? I mean, it'd be great. I mean, someone made a joke. Like, I don't know. I was watching like Majority Report. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene would probably love that Bobert's gone. Like, there could only be one. I disagree. I mean, there was always like an ally there that she could like scream expletives at like Biden with. Now it's
yeah,
just going to be her. She's going to look like a crazy cat lady. I don't think there's anybody that was elected in this election that's going to fill that hole that Bobert is. Like, as far as we know, that whole like weird grifty group, Hawthorne, March Taylor Green. Gates was always there. He ended up kind of getting absorbed into it. I mean, Gates is just a Republican legacy hire. The
yeah,
fact that my favorite, like on my feed, it was like two in a row. Gates and Marjorie Taylor Greene both projected winners, and I was just like, ew and ew. And
yeah.
again, I guess Republicans in Florida love predators.
Well,
They love
I
their
don't.
predators.
Yeah, Florida's something else. Someone's going to do a deep dive on like what the fuck happened with Florida, and I don't know if I necessarily want to read it, but well,
Here's a good one. Well, it's probably like you said, brackish water.
yeah, right. Brain disease.
Yeah, probably. I don't think it's probably good to live in the conditions. Like, isn't there like your threats of mold and shit all the time if your AC
Yeah,
doesn't run right? And like,
I think honestly, I think it is like a different kind of place with different priorities and
I think
everything.
right wing media has infiltrated it too. A lot of right wing grifters have gone down there. A lot of right wingers have moved down there too. And I'd
Yeah,
say they should all move down there, and then we should get Bugs Bunny to come along and just cut cut it off. You ever seen that gif?
yeah.
Bugs Bunny cutting off and like, um,
There
here
was
I know Texas was awful, but there
yeah,
is
yeah.
a shining thing.
Hmm.
The QAnon girl that won in like a couple months ago.
Yeah,
She was like the Hispanic woman that
yeah,
was
yeah,
wouldn't admit that she was a QAnon nut. Uh, and the right was gonna try to make her like their like
yeah,
AOC or
yeah.
whatever, except she had like no charisma or whatever.
Right.
She lost the
Nice.
Democrat.
Nice.
So
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah. So you got one, Joseph.
Mm.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, the bait up thing really disappointed me. I cannot believe Abbott won by that much. Abbott, fucking, let's see, when did Abbott, let's do the past couple of years of Abbott. Abbott has looked over the one of the worst power failures in the
Yeah.
state. when the state froze, and it will freeze again.
Yeah, I think the problem is that affected a lot of people, but not a ton, you know. And I think people have short memories over it.
It was
And
too long ago. If it happened like the day
yep,
before, maybe, maybe.
and people chalk it up to, oh, it's the weather, and like I don't know. It's look, if aside from the last year, Abbott winning doesn't surprise me terribly because
No,
up
it
until
doesn't
the
shock
last
me. It's baked
yeah,
into the cake.
up until the last year, he wasn't even that right wing. I think the thing that stunned me is I was at dinner not too long ago. We were with a lot of people, and a lot of the women I think kind of skewed Republican. A lot of them even said like, yeah, I'm Republican, blah blah. But a lot of them were like really angry about the abortion thing, and a lot of them, this was months ago, said, like I'm not voting for anyone. But and I don't know if these specific women did or didn't, but a lot of women did, you know. Um, and the thing that really stunned me of Texas is like Abbott won Uvalde 60-40. Like, I don't. What do you
That's
do with
insane.
that? Like, I'm sorry. Like,
That's just disgusting. That's a like an assault on like the people who lost their kids there.
well,
Like,
some of the people who lost their kids probably voted for him.
I don't know about that,
I
but
don't
maybe,
know. I mean,
maybe
like, that's a small town. A lot
awful.
of them. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, whatever. Who cares? Um,
No, it is not. Who cares? It's fucking weird. Like, what the fuck? Abbott, yeah, Abbott is proven to be awful. This fucking guy like had that bullshit debate back in like what 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Made sure no one could see it, no
yep.
audience.
Yeah.
Refused to ever debate him again because he's a fucking coward. He didn't want to build because he knew that Beto had great stage presence. All he needed was a fucking audience to feed off of because he was like basically like he kind of was like I've seen that guy speak many times.
Yeah.
Potential to be the next Obama.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, wrong state. Wrong lives in the wrong
Yeah.
fucking state. And I'm just it blows me away. This is why I do not regret moving because well one, like I said, our roots aren't there. We had no reason to be
Yeah.
there. I left my job years ago. We both work from home. I didn't like the direction things were going at all. They're just, I think, and now they're just gonna get worse, or they'll just solidify bad. I think they'll get worse, depending on
Yeah.
if there's a tragedy of any kind. Um, you know, and when I moved there, I saw it, and they said that this state was, despite what Republicans want, this state was trending blue. It was. And with the Beto election in 2018, there was a lot of promise. There was some
Yeah.
seats taking in the House from Democrats. And it was like, holy shit, maybe I was just delusional talking to people that like just agreed with me or whatever. And thought, oh yeah, maybe there's a chance that the state might shift a little bit. Not, and it was like, we're hearing like, oh my God, it might go to Biden actually. Like Biden might actually win. And
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
lost, but he didn't lose by that bad. It wasn't like it was not, I think it was only by a couple of points that he lost in the
Yeah.
state.
I would
But
say,
after 2020, shit got real weird. With the pandemic, it shifted so
yeah.
fucking hard to the right with the critical
I,
race theory, with the
yeah.
all that insane bullshit. I'm sure there's people probably like there's cat litter in the
Well,
and you go ahead. What?
no, I was going to say is that like that does happen, but like things shift. Like
Yeah,
Colorado
but this
used to be a
was
hardcore Republican state when I was younger, and same with Virginia. And
yeah,
now
but Texas was veering, and then the pandemic came, and
I know,
like
but
I
I'm
said,
just saying like you can't look at like these momentary shifts and like
but I think unfortunately it's proven that it's baked into the cake. Some states, I'm sorry,
could
some
be.
states it's just baked into the cake. And when the state legislators spent a whole year, which they did in Texas 2021, they put in all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, that is true.
Remember they were like arresting Democrats who were like trying to slow down they left the state so they could like
Yeah.
stop some horrendous things from going through, and they're like, we're gonna arrest you when you get back. And I was like, the fuck is this? This isn't deranged. uh I just can't believe Beta lost as much as he did. I think it's depressing actually.
Well, it
Um,
is. I wonder. I don't know. I
I
wonder if
figured like it'd be close and like fine. I wasn't like delusional and thinking that Beta was gonna win, but like I figured maybe it'd be close enough just to sting a bit. Like, hey, you
I
know what? You may have won, but like I left your face with a ton of scratches, you know?
I like Beto a lot, and I'm glad he ran. I am curious. I'm not saying I wish that it had happened. I'm curious to see what the results would have been if um if the Dems had put up another candidate. You know what I
I
mean?
think
I think
unfortunately,
Beto has a little Hillary in
I
him in the sense that some people viscerally don't like him.
I think the problem was what hurt him the most was he ran for president and he went on a national stage and he said that damn hell we're gonna take your gun away.
Yeah,
And I agree with him 100%, but
right.
I'm also not the average gun owner or whatever.
Well,
Um, and I feel like there's a little bit of nuance to it that people refuse to accept.
yeah.
That, like,
No,
you
I
know,
agree. I agree.
like, is he going to take away your gun? Or is it more like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be selling these type of guns? Our streets shouldn't be flooded with these kind of weapons.
Yeah,
It's funny. The right always demands nuance. The right always is like, "Oh, DeSantis didn't mean that. You're taking it too far." And it's like, no. But then like
right,
Beto says something, and they're calling him like Gun Hitler or something.
right.
I had some like nut write me today because I put vote on my Instagram, and I had some nut who's
Yeah.
like, "I don't believe in either side." Blah 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 blah. And he's like saying all kinds of crazy shit. And this one guy wrote me, it was pretty funny. He said that like let me see if I can find what he wrote. He was like defending me. It wasn't like a
Yeah,
attack.
yeah.
It's pretty funny. Hold on. Yeah, this guy wrote me this. I was talking to him and I said, you know, he's calling me like a baby. I'm like, he
Hmm.
said he was gonna like tear up all the mats he bought from me or something. I'm
Jeez.
like, I
Okay.
said to him, I'm like, wait, so you're gonna throw away all the stuff that you're gonna throw away things you spent your hard-earned money on because
Right.
you don't agree with my politics.
You know
Oh,
you
okay, that's
and you know
reasonable.
I get to keep the money, right? Like I
Yeah,
don't
like I
like
already spent that money years ago. Like,
you're not gonna get a refund on that.
yeah, I love the guy wrote. I love that whole piss off half the nation line. Like they don't regularly do the same exact fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they're allowed to piss. Why are you so divisive?
Mhm.
Well, Joseph, why are you being so divisive?
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be the divisive one, but my way is the right way.
Well, that's
That's
yeah.
basically what I'm
The
saying.
Republicans have been doing that since.
Well, this guy was not a Republican.
Mhm.
He's I know any of those people that claim. I always love those people. Like they come on my page and they're like, well, I always say this about these people. Like they claim that like you know, left and right's part of the same bird, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
this bullshit. And I'm like, okay, so like let's say there's a person that comes and destroys your house. And then there's the other side of the people who are like, hey, we don't like that you destroyed our house. And then you're like on the side, like, you're both bad.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
It's
like you doing that, you have taken to me, you have taken a side
yeah.
because you are fine with the guy destroying the house.
Right.
It's like those people who are like, I'm not a Nazi, but I'm not gonna do anything to stop like
Yeah. Then
these
you're
people from taking
Nazi
power.
adjacent or
Yeah,
whatever. I don't. What do you?
you're not an ally either way. Like
Yeah.
if anything, I think you're worse because at least I know what I'm dealing with when it's the shitty person.
Yeah.
We're trying to claim to be this other entity.
Well, you have this like air of legitimacy about you as you allow shit like that to happen.
Yeah. And like the enlightened centrist is what I
Right.
call it. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Um,
Ugh.
so I don't, I mean, this election, I mean, I'm going to like look one more time and see if there's like a fucking update on that Bobert
On the
shit
Bobert
because,
one.
yeah, this is like crazy.
Yeah, I've got here. I got the vote tabulations here. Colorado House 3. They got all right. Frisch at they're both at 50%. Adam Frisch has 1,156,746.
Yeah, there's nothing changed here.
All
This is from
right.
38 minutes ago, and she has 156, 682.
What is the difference on that? Let me
I mean, that's
I got my
let's see,
calculator here.
46 plus 10, 56 plus 8, 72.
All right.
Wait, no, I'm wrong. Hold on. 46 plus 10, 56 plus 8, 56, 64. No, wait. I can't even do basic fucking math.
I got it
Is it
on
64? It's 64 votes.
64, yeah.
Yeah.
So geez, I mean, like if everyone is saying that the votes are coming in from areas that supported him, that's great. But like I think his vote lead has gone down. So I don't know.
It's been consistently this for like hours.
Okay.
He goes up and down like 5 or 6 votes, and he's either like 70 or 60 votes ahead of her.
Yeah.
It's insane because we're 99% in at this point, I think.
Right.
And it's just like, come on, man, what the fuck?
Mm.
I mean, if it was the other way around now, they'd be like, oh, he needs to pack it up.
Right. I don't know. I
Then
don't
like
know.
the recount, Democratic strategist Kurt Bordella on what Rep Lauren Boebert will do if she loses her tight race in Colorado. And he wrote, I guess it might be a gain for OnlyFans. This is like, oh, that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
and supposedly she made like millions off of her being in Congress. Supposedly she made
Oh
like
yeah.
$50 million or something insane.
Yeah.
She'll be fine. I mean,
Yeah.
the joke is she'll probably piss it all in like a
Oh
year.
yeah. My guess is that she will. My guess is that she'll wind up like divorced, and that guy will walk away with half of it, and he'll notify the middle school he moves next to because he's required to by law.
Right. He has
And
no
when,
choice but to tell everyone in the neighborhood who he is and what he's done.
yeah, so we'll see. Well, I know the next couple of days are going to be exciting, and I'm kind of
Exciting.
well, because we'll get for sure answers about Arizona and Nevada. Should get in the next day or
Yeah.
so. Maybe longer in Nevada, but I hope not.
It's just like I'm glad it wasn't a bloodbath like the Republicans thought it was going to be. Like, dude, we'll wrap this up in a minute. The way you know it was not at all a success for Republicans was there were like live shots of like Charlie Kirk
Yeah.
and on like his stream or whatever of him just like crying and like
Yeah.
Benny Johnson like flipping out. And it was like the funniest thing. And the joke is that like these guys never learn. They're just gonna want to run another Doug Mastriano.
Oh yeah.
Like they're just gonna run another Blake
They'll say
Masters.
the
Like,
problem is that they didn't like Mastriano wasn't extreme enough.
well, the thing I think it's great because the thing is, even said that like supposedly the Democrats helped get Mastriano elected.
Oh yeah,
From
they ran ads against his primary opponent.
yeah, so probably worked in Shapiro's favor, which is
Yeah,
good. Sometimes you're like, that could backfire because you get like Trump. But
right. For
I don't
sure. A
know.
lot of Democrats rooted for Trump, but
But last thing, and I just
yeah.
totally forgot. Oh, there was a couple of good races. Bo Hines lost. That was great.
Yes, that
That
was
was a
awesome.
creep who wanted a panel. He was like, "Yeah, I'm fine with the abortion, but like me and my 10 buds have to check both
Right. Yeah.
privates to make sure she was raped or not."
Ugh.
That Bolduc guy, or whatever his name is,
Yeah, from New Hampshire, Baldock or
That's
whatever.
that asshole who like basically used stolen valor, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, another stolen valor guy, that J.R. Majewski.
that's the
Uh,
guy I'm thinking of.
okay.
Not
Yeah,
Bolduc.
he lost. Eamon Bundy lost, which was
Yeah, I
great.
even forgot that Eamon Bundy was even running.
Who else lost that was good? LePage lost in Maine.
That's good.
Yep. A lot of really terrible people lost. Some terrible people won, but a lot of really terrible
The
people
difference
lost.
between JD Vance and Blake Masters, who probably are both equally awful. Well, one, I think Blake Masters might actually be worse. Is that Blake Masters looks like a scary snake man.
Yes.
JD Vance looks like a guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That all tracks.
he looks friendlier, He's
Yeah.
like, I'm a hugger.
Right.
Yeah, I am. And the other guy's like, You
Right,
know, it's
right.
fucking Snake Man. Like he looks like a Jim Carrey impression.
He
Like Jim Carrey
does.
doing.
He
He looks
does.
like Fire Marshal Bill before like the fire, or maybe
He
after the fire.
definitely looks like Team Slytherin or whatever. Like,
Yeah, like maybe next time don't elect a guy who looks that evil.
right.
Like JD Vance, I could see how people could fall for that. He looks like he's like, I mean, if you don't know anything about him, he's just
Yeah,
some,
he looks affable.
you know. But Blake Masters is like, yeah, I like Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
I have like 8 editions of that.
Yeah.
He'll gladly tell you, like, with his eyes.
He's the kind of guy that has like Nazi memorabilia that he gets at flea markets and stuff. And he just
Yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoys the history of it. But like,
I'm just a history buff.
yeah, but you have a
I'm just a
lot of
big, I'm just
Nazi
a,
stuff.
just a big history buff.
Ugh. Oh well.
Okay, well, before we wrap this up, my hopes and dreams for the finishing is, well, one, I hope Dems hold the Senate.
Oh
But
yeah.
just from these two, the runoff should be interesting. I would like to hope that cooler heads prevail and that Warnock just wins,
Yeah. Yeah.
because Herschel Walker's a fucking idiot.
He's an
And I
idiot.
think I know people are like, oh well, supposedly there was like another candidate on there, and they're afraid that might help Herschel Walker with that candidate being gone. But I don't know. I feel like with now all eyes on Georgia and all eyes on Walker, it'll just reveal what a shitty candidate
Yeah.
he is more.
And
He won't have like,
I think a lot of people showed up to vote for Kemp and they're like, well, as long as I'm here, I'll vote for Walker. I don't know that Walker's going to excite people to get voting. And I think Warnock will excite Democrats. So,
they just have to have a message. They have to
yeah.
have Biden go down there and say, with the get
Yeah.
Warnock in here, and we'll get this through. We'll get this through.
Right.
I'm gonna put in 8 judges. I could do this with Warnock. I don't know. Like, fuck, make up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll
make
work.
up shit. That's it. People love when people do that. I'm gonna build a wall around Florida. I'd be for that. I think
Yeah.
Biden should. I think he should run on building a wall around Florida. If I was
Something.
Disney right now, I'd be looking into like moving Disney even, like,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
honestly, just from a practical standpoint, it's hot. It's hot in Florida all the time. It rains like fuck, like 9 months out of the year. It's got like outbreaks of weird tropical diseases. The hurricane, like if a hurricane comes through, fucking Disney shuts down for a week. That's the bunch of money. Now, I know they have a lot of architecture there and they have a lot of stuff or whatever, but like honestly, they could just as easily move to like they can move to North Carolina. They can move to I don't know. There's a bunch of places they can move.
And I'm sure there'd be any state would welcome them.
Oh easily, yeah. Um, they
I
don't.
like the Colorado was pretty funny. They're like, yeah, we'll take you in. I thought that was like,
Yeah,
kind of,
well, Colorado wouldn't be a bad place either. I mean, depending on where in Colorado they have, because you
yeah,
don't want to move to the snow, because
Pikes
then
Peak.
you have the same problem in reverse. But like, eventually, it's going to get to the point where someone gets out their ledger and starts looking at all the days they got to shut down in Florida, because of the hurricanes and the hot weather, and they'll look at attendance and they'll be like, I think we can make a go of this elsewhere.
And
So
also you have a crazy governor that like tried to
yeah,
turn a culture war against you and now got reelected.
fucking taxes and like getting rid, and all of a sudden now they were like interfering, like reneging on deals that I don't know. It just seems eventually that I think I think Florida needs Disney more than Disney needs Florida, and I don't think Florida
And
understands that.
it won't be right away, but maybe in like 10 years, they might not be in Florida anymore.
Yeah, I mean I could see it.
It
I could
won't
see
be
it happening.
tomorrow. It wouldn't shock me if you hear in a couple of years a story like, yeah, Disney plans on leaving Florida.
Or they're exploring it. That's you'll hear it first is like Disney officials have been acquiring land in like southern Nevada or so, wherever. Who knows?
And Ron DeSantis won't care because he'll be like, oh my God, I heard one of the employees of the Daily Wire is going to move here.
Yeah. Oh,
So I'm fine with that.
wow. Right.
Oh, real last quick one.
Yeah.
Biggest loser of the election, that piece of shit, Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
He tried, with the whole anti-trans thing and
Yeah.
everything. And a lot of the candidates that came out the most anti-trans, a lot of them lost.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, not DeSantis, but real funny. He was on, I guess, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And which is gross already that Joe Rogan has him on to begin with, and Joe Rogan's gross. He was talking about like puberty blockers and making this assumption that it's in the millions, like saying like this is like some out of control thing.
Yeah.
And I guess now Spotify has Spotify has like fact checkers now. Rogan because that whole thing about the kitty litter, Rogan was one of the biggest pushers of that.
Yeah, and it was false.
Yeah, and so supposedly, like Jamie but they're like, no, this is probably like they probably got someone working at Spotify working there, like fact checkers.
That's funny.
And they like said, actually, no, it's like barely 1,000 a year or something.
Right. Good.
And Matt Walsh was just like, and it just shows you how like these guys, it doesn't matter what they say. He just goes, media matters. We'll have fun with this clip.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's
like, yeah, who cares? I got caught lying.
Yeah,
don't worry, I'm gonna lie again like 100 times. It doesn't make a fucking difference.
It won't be the last.
Yeah, and I'll just say right afterwards, media matters. We'll have fun with it, and I'll just like what they call it, not belittle it, but just delegitimize anything, any critique by just attacking some whatever. All right. Well, on that note, next week we'll talk about Andor.
Yep.
Episode 10 and 11.
Yeah. And that, I think, we'll talk, and then we'll make our predictions for the last episode, because that we should have just won that.
And then whatever fallout happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.